I don't know what you're gonna say.
Hello, and welcome to Hold Up, a movie podcast. Tonight, we are going to talk katanas, kung fu, kickflips, karate chops, and con men, because tonight's theme is martial arts. I am your host, Davan, and with me, as always, Chris Worldmind Murphy. How's it going, Murphy?
Hiya, Davan. How are you? I'm fantastic. I'm just here to talk ninja shit with my boys.
Ninja shit.
You know, get our martial arts on, which is one of my
son
favorite
of a bitch,
things.
you stole my line.
Well, see, in the world of martial arts, you must be quick and first to the punchline.
Ooh, he's got you there.
And I want to say welcome.
We have a
Chow.
very special guest tonight. How's it going, Chow? My friend and
I'm doing well. How are you?
Missed you, buddy.
Missed you too. It's been a while.
It has been. Well,
Look,
I know we might as well get
hackers
into
and internets with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long was that?
That's a good point. So, like, the movies are probably better tonight. Last time you were here, they weren't great, as I recall.
Well, I think you're really typecasting me for this podcast here. Just because I'm Asian, we got to talk about IT stuff, and now we're talking about martial arts.
I'll have the audience know that
you guys are real dicks. You know that?
For yourself.
Real dicks.
I'll have you all know he's the one that's booking the show for the most part. So
yeah, I bet you guys got together, and Davin's like, "Oh, I know the perfect guy." Wait, hold on. Let me ask a question.
He does
real question,
say that
Davin.
often.
Real talk, Davin.
Yeah, real talk.
Am I your only Asian friend?
No, you're not. You're definitely not. You were in high school.
Of course, grew up in a farm town.
Michael Wong and I weren't that tight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So no, the answer is no. But back in high school, yes.
Well, I'm definitely the coolest now. So
this is getting off
You're
the rails. We should get back on track.
All right, let's
there's
go.
no track. Chow's here.
Let's go.
Well, not yet anyway.
We grew up down by the tracks, Chow and I. We would meet down by the tracks, sell our wares, drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
Statute of limitations are over. You could be kidding.
You know what? Real talk. Everyone picks their own categories, and as soon as you picked martial arts for yourself, I knew you were going to come blast me with that shit. Yes, you did.
You came to me and said, I got the perfect category for you.
Unbelievable. This is scurrilous.
And I figured this is the only way I could get back on this podcast, so I just said yes. So racist.
Can you come back in season 3 for convenience stores?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're getting canceled tonight, boys. All right, let's get into it.
My goal. Let's go.
Yeah, I know it was. He never wants to come back. He's like, "Oh, I have a way to make sure this happens." But but you know what? Honestly, some of my I have very few memories from our childhood, Chow. But I do remember seeing martial arts movies at your house. I have vague memories of watching martial arts movies at your house.
There you go. Perfect segue. Let's go.
Perfect segue. Let's go. Everyone's mad at me for picking this movie, but I was trying to enlighten us with some new films we haven't seen because we've all seen the other ones. So in Theater 1, well, look, I have things to say about it. So we have Come Drink With Me from 1966, starring Cheng Pei Pei. Oh, God. Can you help me with any of these? Anyone can help me with these pronunciations?
You're doing great, bud. You're doing great.
All right. Cheng Pei Pei, I'm having trouble with this. Yue, is it Yue?
Sure.
Yue Hua and Chan Hung Lit, directed by royalty, King Hu.
Oh my god.
All right.
Oh my god. You're doing great, bud. Just keep going.
All right. So this movie. Let's talk about it. So this movie starts with
well, this movie's got a trailer, so let's just refresh ourselves with that, because I'm sure you haven't seen the trailer for this film.
No, I haven't.
Let's watch that.
How long is it?
As long as any other trailer.
您来这儿有什么公干？
Business brings you here. Constable of the
这儿是
governor.
佛门净地，小姐怎么能恃强行凶，随便杀人？
你少管闲事，你勾结匪盗也要连坐。
我出去就是为了找他，几年没见，你还要饭呢？
要饭没出息，比不上你背着架上造。
Yeah, this trailer makes this movie seem way more epic than it actually is.
不像个有功夫的人。他的功夫已经到了登峰造极的境界，因为他一天到晚喜欢喝酒装疯卖傻，有些无聊的人叫他醉侠。
Drunken hero.
活腻了。技术到了，他的功夫已经到了炉火纯青的地步。
佛场行律，岂能为了本身的安危而玩忽国法？
小小年纪，何必赶尽杀绝呢？
我有职务在身，捉拿逃犯。
It's out now in U.S. and Canada.
Blu-ray,
look,
get your era
I'm
editions.
gonna say a few nice things about this movie because I'm pretty sure you guys aren't. I get that impression. So here's what I'll say about this movie. It could have been a lot better. Like that trailer didn't look bad at all. That looked like a trailer from a good movie. And to be fair to this movie, I came to find out later it like won Academy Awards and was like lauded. It was a commercial and critical success. Everyone loved it. But again, it's from 1966.
Where?
In U.S. and in China. This was a hit.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. It won an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film the year it came out.
Was it the only one?
Maybe,
Probably.
but it's still won. So there's stuff here, and I will admit, for the first 15 minutes or something, I was into this movie. I really liked it actually. The first 15 minutes, I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. And another positive is I do like the star. I think Cheng Peng Pei has like a lot of charisma and good at the action and very beautiful and good female action star.
She's got a good mean look.
She does. I mean, she's good at facial expressions in general. I found she could say a lot with her face.
She's in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think she plays like the Jade Fox character. Yeah,
she must have been quite old by then.
Yeah, like she was in her late 40s at that point, I believe. And
it has to be older than that, Murphy. This movie came out in 1966.
Yeah, but Crouching Tiger,
Dragon came out 40 years later, and she wasn't 4 years old in this movie.
Well, I don't know. They said so she could have been in her 60s, but either way, she was.
Asians age well.
Either way, she was good in that role. So I was expecting good things out of this, and yeah, I kind of echo your statements. The first 15 minutes of this film are pretty solid, and like.
Murph, I'm 57.
Yeah.
Wow.
57.
Why were we in high school together?
I came back to teach it.
The math program.
I just posed as a student during the day.
You white people math.
You're why I got a 56.
Yeah, you sucked at it.
Yeah, the whole scene where like the army's like leading the prisoners, in which is like the governor's son, I would assume, or prince or whatever. It's Prince, son. Either way, he's getting all
son.
His son. That whole scene is like really cool because you get introduced to.
They have a guy in a box.
Himself?
And it's just his head sticking out of the box. Yeah, he was Jade-Faced Tiger. Yeah, we come to find out way later. That's his name.
Yeah, yeah. He had this little like fan gun, which I thought was pretty cool. And that was
There's
like
a lot
really
of poison
cool
darts. A lot of poison darts. Like they even just poison dart some random kid in the eye in this movie for like no reason.
A lot of ninja shit, if you will.
That was kind of weird.
He was fine. He deserved it.
He was fine. Like, can you stop the bleeding? They're like, why? It's poison.
And why Jade-Faced Tiger? Why not Pale-Faced Tiger? That dude is white.
Yeah, is that like this shade that he used to make it like that? That makes no sense. But anyway, whatever.
The thing about this film is the editing is really kind of not the best. Like they set up all these like really, really cool scenes. There's really intense scenes. Like my scene that held up, which is really early on, is that scene where we kind of get introduced to Cheng Pei-Pei's character, and she enters this restaurant or inn.
See, to me, it's like I've heard that, like, and it's obvious to me that Quentin Tarantino loves this movie and drew off it for Kill Bill. It's obvious, like
big time.
This scene plays like a modern movie scene, but almost better in a way because it would just seem more fake and a little more tacky and like a Kill Bill. But like having a female protagonist walk into this bar where everyone wants to kill her.
But that's the thing too. She's chilling. She's like, "Where's my wine?" The whole place is emptied out.
She's like, "You have tiger bone wine?" They're like, "No."
Everybody keeps referring to her as a man. I believe they're all under the impression that she's a guy.
Yeah, she's pretending to be in the beginning, which I don't get. She's like a beautiful woman.
I don't get that either.
That part,
this guy was great.
Yeah, they keep calling her Sir. And like,
Smiling Tiger.
But yeah, like I love this whole scene. My favorite is from this scene as well. My favorite scene.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's such a modern thing. She's having her drink. She's asking for a drink that they don't know, which she does on purpose to seem more cultured than them. Because which is also like not very modern. Whereas like she's the protagonist that you're supposed to cheer for, but she's like the son or the daughter of royalty, which normally would be more of a villainous character these days, and the ragtag kind of commoners would be the heroes. But it shows you like kind of a bit of where the culture was maybe in the 60s, where it's just like you want to cheer for the elites, whereas like that's not the case anymore. You don't really want to cheer for the elites. As soon as I found that out, we're like, oh, we're cheering for the governor's daughter. All right, let's do it.
But that's okay. So this for me, this is where the movie's like great, and then it quickly falls off.
Oh, it does. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, you guys both watched it before me and were just like kind of like razzing me a little hard, I think. Well, just subtly, but you're like, ugh, just wait. Like,
you picked a flounder of a film. I ain't gonna lie. Like this,
but like it starts for the first 13 minutes, I'm like, you guys are idiots. This is great.
And then she shows off all of her martial skill and prowess that she can do when people are throwing like wine barrels at her. She knocks one out with
I found that hilarious.
I thought it was really funny
they just decide they're all gonna throw random shit at her. Like they start with small shit, and she just like knocks it away. She's
start with the biggest thing. They start with
like this bench
pot.
Yeah, they don't start small. They're just like, here's a wine jug, and she's bats it out with a.
And then they do the coins.
The fan.
Then they throw money at her. What are you doing?
Or she's just like she just catches them all on like sticks. They're like, give me back my money, and she's just like, no.
And then when it looks like it's about to get serious, then you get intrused to the drunken actor,
Drunken Cat. He's called
Drunken Cat. He calls himself Drunken Cat, but it's not his real name. Like
his real name's Fan. He's like a Shaolin. He's Fan.
Fan Taipei, I think it is.
Yeah. He's actually a Shaolin monk warrior from like the Green Wand.
Well, that's the thing. He's trying to play himself like a drunken like hobo. I'm just here to drink, but he's got all of his teeth. They're straight, and super white and clean. And I'm just like, there's no way in hell if you're a drunkard all day, you've got all of your teeth like that. Like it's not happening. Your whole thing, his whole vibe was off. And I looked into it, and apparently the original, because I was watching the original audio. And that character specifically was dubbed in Mandarin. So it was like
Yeah, I noticed that because when he sings his songs, he's singing in Cantonese.
Yeah, I think
so they don't bother dubbing the songs.
I think he's able to sing, right? But all of his speaking lines are just like weirdly dubbed.
Maybe they hired him as a singer.
Probably, because I think they're they ended up doing a sequel to this film, and they ended up replacing him.
Sequel.
There's a sequel, yeah.
Look, there's it won an Academy Award. Of course, they made a sequel.
Hey,
But we'll yada yada through the plot because play my clip because that's the end of the good stuff.
That's true. Your clip is.
Chow didn't even pick one. He's like, no.
I declined. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I declined.
That dude.
I can't lie to myself.
Like that's the ultimate poker visor hat right there.
Oh yeah, it is. I thought you were going to come in character as that guy.
See, he did send me an email.
The daggers. The friggin'... okay. There are character choices in this film that I just couldn't understand entirely. I thought this was her most badass line. Give me a clean
it's the
room.
most badass line. Like that line in what she does here is better
two horses
than most things in similar modern movies.
I came here alone, but I won't leave alone.
Yeah.
Find me a guide.
Quentin Tarantino wishes he wrote that. Like, he wishes.
Just hand gestures like, hey, you weren't listening, but this means everything. Go do that.
Everyone in this hotel, this inn, wants to kill her and has threatened to try to kill her again. And she just walks up to the counter and orders a room. Like, that's the most badass thing. Quentin Tarantino wishes he wrote that. He's not the only one. But, like, that's incredibly modern in its awesomeness and cleverness, I think.
I mean, Tarantino did all that in the Kill Bill like diner scene basically, but he did it in a way that made it all like cohesive and like the thing is we kind of yada yada through all that. Even through the fight scene, she was doing these really like weird, clearly staged fight behaviors and doing things like for instance the daggers. She pulls the daggers out of her boots, but the way they cut it, they just like she bends down, they cut it, you see fabric floating, and then she's just got daggers in her hands all of a sudden, and you're like, where did those come from? But this is the only time like that. There's a scene, what is it? Yeah, there's a scene where she's like fighting with a sword, and then, pulls daggers out of nowhere. Like they become a consecutive plot. It's I found it interesting how this movie starts off with what seems like an A plot, in the governor's daughter trying to get her brother back from this gang because this gang's leading group is taken over or is imprisoned by the governor and they're trying to
That's the only plot, basically.
That's the only plot. It is, but it isn't. You think it is, but it isn't. It seems like the A plot, but then about halfway through the movie, the A plot becomes the B plot because the B plot of this movie is the drunken cat is actually been hiding for the past 30 years from this Shaolin monk who's been his training partner in all this stuff. He's been hiding for years. So it's introduced as a B plot, but then by the third act of the movie, it is the A plot. And then the yada yada through her getting the brother back and all this stuff. It's like,
yeah, he tries to make a deal. Like he brokers an exchange and then he screws it over by attacking. It's a
disjointed movie. Side. It sets it up like, oh, there's going to be this powerful, strong woman in the first act. Then by the second act, she's dressed as a woman, goes to the Buddhist temple where apparently this gang is just taking over a Buddhist temple. She's dressed like a woman. They're like, oh, treating her like that. And then she just gets into a fight scene. Arguably a better fight scene than the actual scene in the inn, like the one that was in the Buddhist temple. That was a really good fight scene. Like the action of that was pretty tight until they just stop because the Jade White-faced tiger's like, you're in a Buddhist temple. You don't want to spill blood in a Buddhist temple. And she's like, you're right. And then they talk for a few And then she starts spilling more blood again, and then she like jumps and breaks like the like altar where all the like the things that people like are praying to and stuff. Just jumps all over that, and then the wooden like window falls open, and she just like super hops out of it, because there again you get this sort of scene where she's in the inn and she's like crouching tiger, hidden dragon style, hopping across roofs and stuff, trying to chase down the drunken guy who's led her on a roundabout so that she can attack the assassins that were going to kill her. And this led to my favorite of her character things that she loved to do. She loved to do the surprise Hillary Clinton meme of realization. Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught this, but she does it like 3 times. The first time she does it is after the hotel inn scene where she almost gets killed by the assassins. After she chases them off, she's in a room and she looks around, and then she goes like that, just like wide-eyed, open face, right? She does that time, and then I think it was like about halfway in the movie, I remember sitting at like a table. I think she was like writing a note or whatever, getting prepared, and then
I think she was deciphering Buddy's song to figure out the location of where her brother was.
Yes, that's what it was, exactly, because he sang a song to her. He's like, I just want you to sing a song, and if you like the song, you can pay me, and if you don't, whatever. And he's got all these kids around him, which is super odd. But he ends up singing his song. She deciphers it, and she's like, just like big ol' wide-eyed like Hillary Clinton Cypriot. It was just, I wanted, if I had the time, I would have made a cut of just those, and then that's my favorite scene. Just her being like, oh, like just her realization, like, you're a beautiful, talented actress. Pepe,
be right back, fellas. I forgot to plug in my laptop, and she's about to die. Gotta go get the cable.
Well, I'll just try and carry this. Or anyway,
you carry it anyways.
I thought. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, her whole thing was. There was like this load of promise where they seemed like she was going to be this lead character, and then by the time they started introducing the mysterious drunken guy, she quickly falls to the backside of the storyline. Isn't that impressive?
Super weak.
Fights. Super weak by the end of it. Like, she gets the Buddhist scene. She's like fighting off all these dudes. Then she's having a hard time fighting Jade, Tiger, or whatever. He's doing like some simple shit. She's having like the hardest time losing a dagger. Then she gets the dagger back and stuff like that after she gets the dagger back. And then she gets cornered. And then there's this scene where like I counted it. I paused the game, or paused the movie, rewound it, paused it, and counted how many people were charging at her. There was 23 people to 24 people charging at her. And she does this move with the daggers where she just like Britney Spears with knives, just, and they all go flying away. She's powerful enough to knock back 23 guys with a couple wave fan move, and hop up a wall. But she struggled to fight this dude in the most basic of formats for like the previous 2 minutes of that. And then you see this like progression of her fighting skills just go downhill. And then they introduce the drunken cat like doing this scene where he's like sitting at a waterfall, and I couldn't quite tell what he was doing with the waterfall. Was he trying to like air Buddhist palm the waterfall and split it? Is that what he was attempting to do?
He's just playing Moses, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I assume that's
tell though. The water was too dark. Like
the water was too dark, and the white was like, it was just like, it looked like a shitty waterfall, and I'm like, okay, I don't quite get like the purpose of what he's doing. And I think they realize that. So in the later act, when he starts fighting his like martial arts master, and they do like the Jedi hand palm, and there's mist that like clearly coming from the jet of the wrist, and he just like, and that's like things are blowing up.
That's hot
I was
sweat.
like, it got so ridiculous. Things were blowing up from air presses, and I was like, what is this movie? What is this disjointed, edited movie? Where are we going with this storyline?
I like how anytime anyone fell in water, like buckets of water came in from both sides like this.
Yes.
It didn't splash up. It came in from the sides.
Off frame.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then the fight scenes between Drunken Cat and what was his master's name, dude? I can't
Bish. It's hard to pronounce. It's like,
hey, Abbott.
The main character, did we even say that she's called Golden Swallow?
That's
technically, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she's called like Golden Swallow. There's Smiling Tiger. There's Jade Face Tiger.
The names are pretty badass.
I just love like this like sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Not talk, like people water cooler talk, but there's the word,
small talk?
Word? Not quite small talk, but communal conversation about all these names.
Okay.
Like these hero names. Everybody seems
Gossip?
to know, like, that's the word. Thank you. That's the word I was having trouble trying to remember. Gossip. It was all this gossip. It seems like this communal gossip. Everybody knows Jade-Faced Tiger. Everybody knows Golden Swallow. Everybody knows Smiling Tiger. Like, it's like, how do people know about this? There's no newspaper. There's just word of mouth traveling that far.
That. It could be newspapers. Newspapers were invented in China.
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like news press was getting out to like middle China farmlands where people are practicing martial arts with waterfalls.
It was 1966.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like the time they were presenting was like
I know
1700s. I don't.
Yeah. It's like they were in like imperial gear and stuff.
Yeah, undefined dynasty. Anyway, the whole battles between the drunken guy and the master were the worst fights I've ever seen in any martial arts. You're expecting this like
they're not great in this movie in general.
No, you're expecting this great
supposed to be the best.
And they always descend into like her being surrounded by a bunch of guys who any one of them could probably just stab her at any point, but they all just kind of like wait.
Just get a spear.
She's always surrounded like completely and like gets out of it. But like it kind of also seems like nobody really wants to kill her. Like I don't know if it's because they fear the wrath of the governor or whatever, but like I feel like there's a lot of squandered opportunities. If they really wanted to, they could have. Yeah. Some of the motivations are a little confusing.
It's weird, yeah, no. And again, like I said, the whole fact that they just kind of switch the seemingly importance of the storylines and then just muddle through it. Like the drunken guy's like, next time I ever thought I'd meet you, I knew one of us were only gonna die because you want this old wooden bamboo staff, and I won't let you have it because you killed.
It's a cool staff. I want one too.
It's a cool staff, but honestly, I like the dude's metal bow staff even better. You know. I don't know.
We've talked about this movie for a half an hour. That seems like
what was the
Let's move on.
That made you choose this movie? I just want to know. Like what happened?
Yeah, what was your process?
We were too cliche. I had chosen Enter the Dragon. It was Bloodsport and Kung Fu Hustle. I wanted to pick something that wasn't something everyone had seen a million times. I figured none of us had seen this at all. Like I said,
I don't think anyone's ever seen this.
It ranks high on martial arts movie lists because it won an Academy Award. Like it seemed like a safe pick. It was an early movie certainly early martial arts movie with a female protagonist, like one of the first. So there were a lot of reasons. Like you read things about it, it's just like, oh, like Quentin Tarantino loves this movie. The Shaw Brothers Studios, like there was tons of things that made me think this would be a good movie. And like it started off like a good movie, and then it just descends into
it's
pretty
weird.
slow and boring and disconnected stuff. But
the best parts of the movie are when they're setting up these ideas of these conflicts and it's just people on the ground talking. But the moment they get into any type of fight or crazy action, it becomes so obviously bad, it's hard to stay connected with any of it. And it's you know, it's
And do you guys notice at the end of the movie where they the big boss is coming in the cage. He's locked up. He just turns out to be a big bitch.
Yeah.
Like, he's the boss of these ruthless bandits. He's like, no, stop, don't kill him.
Yeah. He didn't seem that tough.
No. Yeah, he goes rolling. They had this stunt scene where like this dude's locked in this wooden cage with two wheels, and it goes rolling down a hill. And you can tell it's about to like careen and tip over, but they cut to a scene where somebody throws a rope, and then they cut back to it being like, fed down the hill so the rope won't let it go over. Like, there's just like a lot of these like weird editing choices that are like covering up continuity errors, and I don't know, man. I like the ideas that were presented. It was just not executed in the best of way, and I think it's also a product of its time, clearly.
Oh yeah, clearly. I'm sure this movie, like when you compare it to other movies in 1966, it's fine. It's just like there's a lot of bad movies, like that movies that don't hold up well from 1966. Lots that do, and this one it's a bit of a mixed bag. But which performance would you hold up? I think it's obviously Cheng Pei Pei.
I mean, is like it though?
You didn't like the poison act?
Is it though?
Isn't it? I thought she had some charisma, and like
I don't think I really don't feel like she had much charisma at all.
Like, I felt like the other motivations
her motivations were pretty thin, and she was always sort of like lost and confused. She just gave me that vibe, like she was a bit lost and confused, even though she was powerful enough to confident and do all these things and be super confident. But the moment she's met with like any opposition, she just kind of like crumbles under it. And I don't think her performance was all that fantastic. I was going to give it. If I would give it,
giving it to Drunken Cat, aren't you?
No, I'm giving it to Smiling Tiger because I couldn't give it to Drunken Cat because Drunken Cat was dubbed over, so I really couldn't tell what his performance was like because they gave it to some other guy that I couldn't see, So it was weird. It was really his whole performance. I felt awkward and alienated watching, and I couldn't get behind. And then I was just like, oh, so now this is the A plot now. Okay, so he's the main storyline, and they can't even finish the story that they set up of a strong, powerful martial arts woman. She just completely becomes nothing more than a messenger at the end of the film delivering her brother. And she couldn't even do that without the drunken guy ensuring that it was delivered, and then he could go back and fight his longtime, I don't really want to say master because he wasn't quite a master to him. He was more of a
contemporary,
yeah.
What say you, Chow? Which performance?
Smiling Tiger too, because I think he played the perfect like mini boss.
Yeah,
that's what was he even a mini boss? Does he even raise to the level of a mini boss?
He put on a better fight against the main characters than the main characters put on against the main bosses, like Tiger. Like their fights.
Casting wise, he fit the part too. Like the only one. Fit the part. Yeah. He had that shit-eating grin.
The way he just like comes in and like picks up her wine and then sits down and serves it to her, and like he's just like, you know me, and like that's just like it was like okay, this guy I can believe, and then they just kind of blow past him, and then they're like, this is the main bad, but no, he's not actually the main bad. This is the main bad, and it's like, who's the bad guy here? Are we the baddies? Like
I feel bad for watching it.
That's what I'm saying.
The setting aesthetic, I thought it would look nice.
Yeah, you're right.
Good scenery. The bar looked really or the inn looked really cool. Like it's all this old wood and stuff. Like, it's all really beautiful stuff to look at.
I really feel like the best part of this movie is the inn setting in like the first 30 minutes, and I feel like that's what Quentin Tarantino took from this movie and then put it into Kill Bill.
Yeah. But you know what? His movies. I'm not the biggest Quentin Tarantino fan. I like a lot of his movies, but a lot of his movies do kind of descend into the same like. They can get long for me. Like I generally like the start of Quentin Tarantino movies more than the end. They tend to descend into ridiculousness that kind of
he's copying all
undermines
the films that he's watched.
Even undermines earlier in the movie. Like
Yeah, that's because he carbon copies all the films he's ever watched, which are movies that set up good premises but don't know how to finish them, and he thinks he does, but he doesn't.
Could be. Well, do you have any? I'm feeling a little. What about you, Chow? You like the setting there?
Nah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. All right. It's the nicest thing you're gonna say about this movie, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little peckish.
So, movie morsels for Come Drink With Me from 1966. The original film was followed by a sequel, Golden Swallow, again with Pei Chang, but with Yu Wang as the lead actor. Jackie Chan is rumored to have appeared as one of the child singers near the beginning of the film.
What?
Yeah.
Rumored? Confirm it. Surely Jackie Chan can confirm that.
Well, lead actress Pei Chang denied this in an audio commentary to the Hong Kong DVD release of the film. Still, the film is listed among Chan's acting credits on his official website and autobiography.
So, oh, my bad. I totally should have been saying all these names the other way around. But, I was reading it literally.
The film was selected as a Hong Kong entry for the best foreign language film at the 39th Academy Awards.
This is a hit. This is a bona fide hit, fellas.
Come Drink With Me was shot on location in Taiwan at the Shaw Brothers Studios in Hong Kong. It was a breakthrough role for actress Chen Beibei, who was only 19 years old at the time of filming. Cheng did not have a martial arts background, but was a trained ballet dancer and choreographer, which director King Hu found
definitely built like a ballet
to
dancer.
His style of action filmmaking. Yeah, it was like, oh, I read that, and I'm like, okay, that explains why all of the fight scenes in this film are just kind of poopy. Director King Hu told critic Tony Raines, quoted in Bay Logan's book, that he had deliberately chosen a ballet dancer for the lead female role rather than fighting. I'm very interested in Peking opera, and particularly its movement and action effects, although I think it's difficult to express them adequately on stage where the physical limitations are too great. King Hu was said to recognize that some of the fights are stylized as opposed to realistic, but claimed that the combat in his movies was always keyed to the notion of dance. Wasn't really a lot to this.
There's similarities for sure.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of morsels I could find for this film. But yeah, cinematography, Tadashi Nishimoto, edited by Xiang Hsing Lung, music by Chow Lei-ping, and production Shaw Brothers Studios, released April 7th, 1966, 91 minutes. I couldn't find out how much this movie was made for, and I couldn't quite find out how much it made in the box office. However,
it must have been a very limited release in
okay, so when I looked it up, it said it sold 12,439 tickets in Paris. I was like, that's a weird box office number, but okay.
How many?
I looked that up. 12,439 tickets in Paris in 1966. So I looked that up.
Sounds like a fair amount.
In 1966, tickets around that time were selling for about 3.04 franc, or at the time about 60 cents USD. So I did the calculations, and roughly, give or take, the box office made $7,932.19
in Paris.
In USD in Paris. So, in franc, it's probably
it probably made its money spread around the world.
Yeah, it made enough to get distribution and recognized in the zeitgeist,
Yeah, there it is. Well, all right, we'll ask ourselves the big questions here now. Rewatchability.
No. No.
What about the first 15 minutes?
No, I'll just watch the trailer maybe.
Yeah. Just rewatch that trailer. That trailer does a better job of selling that film than the film ever will. I did appreciate that, like, a lot of things were like one-hit kills, though. I did like that.
Oh, yeah. Especially in that opening, like, field fight scene where that one guy just hit a sword and people kept running at him and he was just, like, swiping them all down one at a time. It was, like, pretty nuts.
Yeah. But much like the one-hit kills in this movie, it's a one-hit kill for me. I'm not going to rewatch this anytime soon.
Nah, me neither. I don't know. Maybe I'd watch that first 10 minutes again. I did kind of like it, but why would I feel compelled to do so? I don't know.
I would do it to make notes on how I'd want to set up a scene, but then ignore the rest of it so you can actually figure out how to close the scene. Because it does really great moments of setting up things that I thought were going to be cool, and then it was just like, meh.
Does it hold up? No.
Not really.
No.
But, like, there's stuff there. Like,
There's
it's
stuff
not
there,
a complete dumpster fire.
Here's the thing. The stuff that's there has been duplicated and redone better a handful of times, if not hundreds of times over, in multiple films that have been inspired by this film. If you want to go back to the genesis of like martial art films and certain takes and how they're done, this is probably one of those films you may want to find yourself watching. But if you just want to watch a really good martial art film that has good editing, is comprehensive in what's happening. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We got lots to say. All right, move to Theater 2. Bloodsport from 1988, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, JCVD himself, Leah Ayres, Forrest. It's amazing. Forrest Whitaker.
It is an iconic
Donald
poster.
Gibb and Bolo Young. Bolo Young is 55 in this movie, and just an absolute jacked maniac. So
yeah,
let's catch the old trailer, I guess. There, Murphy.
Directed by Newt Arnold.
Yeah,
don't forget the director. But yeah, let's watch this trailer. Get a refresh on the Bloodsport.
For centuries, the Society of the Black Dragon has sanctioned an ancient rite of combat, known as the Kumite, open only to the world's most lethal warriors. It has never been won by a Westerner.
You are not Japanese. I can do it.
Now, for the first time, the true story of American super agent Frank Dukes can be revealed.
Uncle Sam can't afford to
super agent.
I'm going to Hong Kong. Frank is going to fight in the Kumite, and we're here to stop him.
An awesome human weapon.
It's me just looking at it.
Who infiltrates the Chinese underworld.
I did not come this far to stop now. Take him.
To enter a forbidden competition.
Couldn't you just get me in?
Strict rules, no press.
You telling me you never break rules?
Where every fighting style, every worthy opponent, every deadly technique clash in savage combat.
Time to separate the men from the boys.
And only one will triumph.
Getting hit from a foot away.
Those were legendary head kicks.
Martial arts sensation Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He's a sensation.
Bloodsport.
Look at that. Look at that.
The true story of the ultimate champion.
Okay.
True story. True story of the ultimate champion.
I have like 3 hours of things to say about this movie.
This movie is not true. This movie is the biggest power fantasy of the fakest man on earth. That's what this movie is.
Yes.
The fact that it's made is a shock and awe. But
this movie is great until the end credits, where it says this is based on the life of Frank Dukes. Frank Dukes holds these records: fastest knockout, fastest kick knockout. It's just like, oh my god,
fastest punch knockout 0.5 seconds. Hey, fastest punch out 0.5 seconds. Fastest kick knockout 72 miles per hour.
No, but this was supposedly in the 70s when there was no cameras to measure such a thing. Anyway, look, if you, I could talk about Frank Dukes forever.
Did he win 569 fights or something like that?
No, like there's no fights.
No, he fought. He technically won 396 fights undefeated, or these were the records that they tried to say was real and ride for years until
true legend.
Someone did a calculation one time about the way he describes how the Kumite worked and like how many people were in it. He's just like, oh, well, you fight 20 people a day, and there's like, so
1-to-1 eliminations, and he said it was 60 rounds.
It was 60 rounds. Yes, if you run a 60-round tournament, that's more than the population of Earth people
times 6.
Yeah, times. So Yeah. Look, Frank Dukes we could talk about all day, but just go watch. There's a great YouTube video by Napoleon Blown Apart about Frank Dukes. Go check that out. It'll blow your mind. Just go down the rabbit hole about Frank Dukes for an hour. But this movie is the greatest movie ever made. Let's be serious. So, despite the fact that Frank Dukes is a con man and a liar, without his cons and lies, we wouldn't have. Let me finish. We wouldn't have Bloodsport. We wouldn't have MMA as we know it. We wouldn't have Street Fighter 2 as we know it. We wouldn't have Mortal Kombat as we know it. All of those things take so much from Bloodsport. Like this, it's for a movie that is based on lies and played off as a true story. It had such significance on the real world. It's hilarious. Like it's hilarious. This movie had so much
the most
effect
successful
on so many
con
things.
job in the world.
It is but it's a beautiful con job because it gave us so many things that we love. Like I have so many mixed feelings about this movie. Like every time when I'm watching the movie, like I do cringe every time they call him Frank Dukes. I'm like, oh, just change his name or something, and it would be a better movie. Like if it was just call him Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I love how they always cast Jean-Claude as these all-American characters, even though Frank Dukes is Canadian. So like the whole thing. Anyway, everything about Frank Dukes is a lie.
He
was born in Toronto.
For this film.
And they have like a Belgian play him as like an American. But anyway, besides that, I mean, they had him play All-American Colonel Guile too. But this is also speaking of Street Fighter, the movie. This was like the first, I assume first time the two actors, Jean-Claude Van Damme and the guy who plays Ray Jackson, are in a movie together, and they go on to do Street Fighter together because what is it, Gibb?
I like to pretend this movie's a prequel to Super Soldier. Because I mean, think about it. Frank's Duke is just like he's running from the military, and they bring him back in, and then they put him on ice and make him a cyborg, and then he's gonna fight Dolph Lundgren, and arguably one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's best films, Super Soldier.
Super Soldier and Universal Soldier.
It might be Universal Soldier, yeah.
Well, we're gonna turn to you in a second, Chow, because this was your pick. I originally picked it, and you're like, "No, don't change it." And I'm like, "All right." You're for sure that was gonna get changed. But no, I'm glad you didn't, because like I kid a little when I say this is the greatest movie ever made, but only a little, because it was so influential in so many ways. But also, I would say with like sincerity that this is. Oh, we're back.
Someone died.
My internet went crazy there. Oh, maybe it was Murphy, was it? Well, Murphy's gone now. But
anyways,
I
agree with you.
How about this, Chow? I'm glad you agree, but how about this? This is the best movie ever made with absolutely no good acting in it. The best movie ever made with the worst acting. Like, is there a movie with as much bad acting in it as this one that is as great?
Yeah, I don't think there's any good actors in this movie.
No. Well, Forrest Whitaker's in this movie. He's a good actor, which is so strange. You like see all this horrible acting for like 30 minutes, and then Forrest Whitaker shows up, and you're like, dude, what are you doing here? Run. You're just cashing a check. And he is like the best actor in it. He just plays like the cop.
He's barely in it.
But he's still like the most believable. He's still like the best actor in it.
Yeah,
I mean, Bolo Young plays scary good.
I guess so. Bolo's great, but honestly, I don't know why I like this movie so much. I think I watched it
nostalgia
at the right time in my life, and when Van Damme was super big, and Bolo was super awesome. Even at his age there, but yeah, I have no idea why. Like as soon as you told me about this category, it's like automatically split second. Bloodsport's got to be in it.
Yeah, well, it's influential on martial arts. It basically created the desire for mixed martial arts.
It's influential on martial arts, even though a lot of the techniques are fake.
Oh yeah,
but you can see like some of the influences. Like there's this one fight standoff where clearly the one guy is the guy they stole Sagat's stance from. Like there's the Sagat guy. Like you can almost like see the Street Fighter fights. Like they're like this one's Sagat versus Ryu. This one's like obviously anything with Ray Jackson, that character. It's like that's the Zangief fight. Like
yeah, I liked how they introduced all the fighters early in the movie, where everyone's doing like Bolo's breaking ice bricks, and then like there's one guy who's yeah, he literally does a side kick to these like ice bricks, like ice boulders that were hanging from a tree, and they just explode because they've got like an explosive on the inside when he kicks them. And then you get introduced to Jackson's character, the big dude, because he like I think he. Well,
let's throw it to Chow. This was his pick. So how did this movie start, Chow?
How does it start?
What's the first act all about?
Man, I don't. Do we not just have like do we have a trailer for this?
Or we just watched it.
We watched it.
What a blur.
We can.
Basically, you want me to take over?
Go ahead. I can't.
Frank awesome. Is like. They don't even get into it. Is he CIA? Is he like whatever? Like not FBI. He's probably CIA, or at least he's working for them. And like, because again, that's some of the lies that Frank Dukes told. He's not just the greatest martial artist at it. He was the king of the ninjas at 16.
He's supposed to be like a U.S. Marine Corps or something.
Yeah, okay. Then he's in the Marines, so they want him for missions because he's the best. So they're like,
I don't even know if they want him.
And they also don't. They don't want him in the Kumite either. They don't want him fighting in the Kumite.
I don't know if it was that they wanted him for missions, or if they wanted him because he was like he had done something to get in trouble, and they were going to put him in prison if he didn't do something. So he just goes on the run and goes back to his old sensei, who was some dude. Yeah. They introduce it because they introduce it. He like breaks into this guy's house, him and his friends, when he's a kid, to steal a sword. But Frank Dukes is like, no, let me put it back. And then they got this kid that has like the most put on Jean-Claude Van Damme accent ever. He's like, I didn't want the sword. I was going to put it. He's like, this is not how you get a sword. You must win in battles for swords.
It's probably his younger brother. Probably a real accent.
And he's like, I'll learn to fight. And he's like, yes, you will learn to fight by being the punching bag of my son. And then his son would just kick his ass for like the next 25 years until his son dies of unexplained reasons.
And there's lots of long splits shots of him doing the splits because it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. You have to.
He gets in this training montage because he's like, yo, even though your son's dead, I can be your son. I can take your training. Because your training won't go from father to father to father. This is my Jean-Claude Van Damme accent.
So he represents the Black Dragon Society, which is the society, the made-up society all these fake karate people in the 80s pretended to be a part of. The Count Dantes and the Ashita Kims and all these, like, in Frank Dukes, all these fake guys. They're all Black Dragon Society.
Old Dukesy takes the time to learn from the master, and the master...
yeah.
Beats the shit out of him, gets him to do some stretches, beats the shit out of him with a stick, isn't happy with the stretches, does a Shibara session,
start off great,
ties him up with rope, stretches him real hard until he just gets stone-faced and then he breaks the thing. And the teacher's like, yes, you are prepared.
You think that's in all of his contracts? There has to be like at least 20 shots of him doing the splits.
I would think there's at least some number in the contract, and like they have to be good too. Like when you see him doing the splits, he's like on the top of a building looking down at a mountain or something like that. Like he doesn't just do the splits anywhere.
Oh yeah, gotta be epic.
Yeah, for sure, because he's good at it. None of the other action stars of the 80s could do the splits. That's how he separated himself. Well, you think Bruce Willis can do the splits? Tell you that much, he cannot.
He can crawl through shafts.
Yeah, without any shoes on.
You don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme can crawl through shafts? He's slippery. But so this movie doesn't start off great. Like the kind of early Frank Duke stuff, it's all just horse shit anyway.
It takes them about 40 minutes to get to the first fight, and in the first 40
once
minutes,
it starts, it's awesome.
Yeah, you get introduced to Frank Dukes as who he is growing up, and then you see him complete his training and then leave for the Kumite, and he gets on a bus.
Means
and that's
sparring.
What was it Frank Rickardson's character?
The opposite of fighting to the death. It means sparring for fun and training.
Jackson, Donald Gibb. That's when he meets Donald Gibb's character on the bus of Jackson.
I like me some Donald Gibb as Zangief.
Nerds!
Okay, USA.
Gibbs gets to be the lovable but crude Jackson, and they become buddy, become the first
playing
two
the worst
Americans in the
arcade
Kumite.
ever. The worst arcade game ever.
Westerns.
It looks so boring. Like, it's just the karate video game, and they're just kind of inching towards each other. It's like basically a.
Did not ever play that game?
No, I don't remember that one.
I was surprised by some of the movesets. Jumping kick.
What was it called?
Standing kick, punch.
I think it was just called karate.
Okay, no, I don't remember that one.
And you got it on like one of the 40-in-1 cartridges.
Or it wasn't. Oh, was that NES karate?
I think so.
Oh, the sprites look different. Oh, I played NES karate. It moves
maybe,
like that, where you just.
Maybe I'm mixing my nostalgic memories here, but.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway,
I have to look in that.
Arcades aside, Jackson basically, inserts coin.
Oh, you kept that.
So slick.
And him and Jean-Claude Van Damme have, a little tete-a-tete. Wins his respect, and then we get to the Kumite, where they start getting.
And the movie gets amazing.
It starts getting into the cool things because you get introduced to all the fights. And stuff.
It's just Mortal Kombat after that.
Well, it is basically just Mortal Kombat after that. The thing is, for Jean-Claude Van Damme's character to get into the Kumite, because the masters are like, you're white.
The bricks.
You're too white to be this guy's son. Yeah. You can't be in the Kumite, white boy. He's like, no, I know my master's way.
White guys can be in the Kumite, but not under.
No. But you can't be under this master's name. Tanaka, I guess. Yeah. You can't be under Tanaka's name, and but
you're not Black Dragon. He's just like, well,
you gotta prove it. And it's like,
show us the dim mock, which is again a full bullshit thing that Frank Dukes and Count Dante and all of them. The touch of death, right? It's the thing you always saw advertised in the comic books. They'd be like all you had to do was do this, and you were a karate guy in the 80s. So. The touch of death. Like, they even made fun of it on The Simpsons. Like, Bart gives Lisa the touch of death. He's like, touch of death.
Yeah. So, basically he's going to break the brick, and then when he's about to do it, they're like, no, the bottom brick. And
so he has to pass the force through 5 bricks.
Which is funny because in the Mortal Kombat games, there's a thing where you have to, test your might and, break a brick. And
no, that's Street Fighter.
It starts with... No, it's in Mortal Kombat. No, it's Mortal Kombat.
No, that's in Street Fighter.
No, it's Mortal Kombat.
I think it's Mortal Kombat.
Oh, newer ones, you mean?
No, Test Your Might's been in Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat 3. Yes.
No, Mortal Kombat does the thing where you have to okay, you're right. No.
Test Your Might.
Yes. I was thinking of
smashing cars.
Just give it a minute.
I was thinking of Street Fighter where you have to beat the shit out of the car.
Yeah, no, I knew exactly what you're thinking of, and it's not that. No. The Test Your Might. They've made it go from it starts off as a brick, and then it ends with the actual Mortal Kombat symbol, and it's like.
I could never break anything on that part in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, dude, it's only harder now. It's only even harder now.
Your stupid hand just hits the top and doesn't go anywhere, and it's very frustrating.
And then your head explodes
because you
fail. Anyway,
that was so lame.
Mortal Kombat begins, and we're going to get into one of my favorite scenes now, which is the inspiration. So Johnny Cage, Jean-Claude Van Damme is the entire inspiration for Johnny Cage, and it was 100%. Mostly because of this.
Even the nut. Oh, you're just picking the nut.
Sorry. Before we really get into this, the reason why I picked this scene is because something stood out to me. Something stood out big time to me in this film, and it started being very apparent.
Oh, it's not his yelling, is it? It's not his... Nope. Those are awful. There's so many slow motion yet groans.
Oh, poor E Honda.
That is E Honda.
It's totally E Honda.
Yeah, he's like the unbreakable sumo guy.
Yes!
That's a
Cage!
That's for America.
There. It was right there. Did you guys catch that?
What?
Did you catch that? Let me pull it back a little. Listen carefully. Did you hear that? Yeah, that little...
Yeah.
That little meow.
Yeah.
That happens constantly throughout the film.
What is it?
It's
That's
a cat meowing.
No, that's a person's soul leaving the body.
No. You would think that. You would think it's an effect to emphasize something that happened in the fight in the movie. It's not. It's not at all. It is... There's a cat meowing because it's a cat. It's a cat. There's a cat meowing in the background of the sound effects.
Yeah,
you can hear it clear as day. And the moment you hear it, it doesn't go away. You think I'm crazy.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't
think I'm
pointed it out
crazy.
Yes,
you do like more crazy than I do right now.
Yeah.
Chow, your scene, it happens twice. It happens twice to that scene.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Who's?
So his is later in the other movie.
Oh, Chong Li. Not happy. Oh, there's one.
There's the other one.
That's not what a cat sounds like.
Dude, it's a cat.
This was a good scene, actually. This was my second choice. Because they all turned their backs on it. He loves the hype.
I don't get it. They've been breaking bones. I thought they were killing people up to this moment, but now he kills this guy dishonorably, and they.
Death.
Is it the
Since
first
the last
death?
year? Since the last year, he killed a guy in the finals in the last year, and he just stand there and watched him die. They said,
"It's like, are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
You are next."
I love that delivery. You are next.
I don't know why that's my favorite scene, but it's
good scene.
And I'll find myself walking around like the office at work, just chanting "Chong,
Chong, Chong."
And I'm at the age now where like most of the people in my office are younger than me, and they've never seen this movie before, and they just think I'm insane.
Probably because you go to work dressed like that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you go back and watch Bloodsport now, and you look at any of the fight scenes, and there's even a YouTube edit of all the cat meow edits in Bloodsport. I looked this up. This is a thing that is recognized in the community where they're like, yeah, no, there's a cat meowing in the background. It fucks with my cat.
So,
because why did this happen?
Probably just a stray cat.
It was the audio engineering was like they didn't put a lot of money into it or something, and there's just for whatever reason. I guess Jean-Claude Van Damme had something to do with the editing of this film too, but yeah, there's a cat.
He actually let Frank Dukes date his sister. He was all in.
Oh, wow, he was all in. I'm sure he's probably done something with.
Yeah, he let Frank Dukes date his sister, and then they had a falling out. Everyone's had a falling out with Frank Dukes because he's a scam artist and a con artist. Yeah, he loved him. Like they were buddies. But
yeah. So yeah, watch Bloodsport. Into his shit. The cat meowing. It's I couldn't get it past it after that point. At that point, from that point on, I was like, why is there a meowing cat? where's their meow? And I had to pause the movie and I had to look it up, and it was a whole thing. And I'm not crazy. You watch this film, I literally, it was like, okay, no, is this the copy I have? Do I have a copy where somebody like gave me a dub?
It's hardly noticeable.
It's very noticeable.
Well, it's now.
It's hardly noticeable in these clips I'm showing, but when you're watching the movie straight on, you're like, that's a meow.
I've seen this movie like 25 times.
I know. I thought I was going crazy, but I had to look it up. I looked it up on YouTube. I had to look up the scene I was watching on YouTube to make sure the meowing I heard wasn't an addition in whatever copy I had, and it was in that YouTube video. And then I looked it up, and there's like Reddit forums of people talking about the meowing cats, and then there's a YouTube edit of all the cat meows in the movie. I have no words.
Count? What's the cat count? Murphy sent me this meme of a cat earlier, and he's just like, I'll talk about it later on the show.
Meow.
I don't think I can unhear it.
Yeah, I can't unhear it now. Screw you, Murphy. I love this movie, and you just made
I bet everybody loves this movie, and if anybody who hears this now, they'd be like, there's a fucking cat meowing in Bloodsport? It's not even like a one-time thing.
For me, if that's what you're trying to do, Murphy.
Listen, I thought it was going to be like a one-time. Surely it's only this one. No, it's like
let's not talk about
every
the cat
fight
anymore.
Scene. And no, it's the only thing I can talk about in this movie. It's the only thing I can
I'm
pay
already
attention
bored
to
about talking
Bloodsport.
about this cat.
But there was a meowing cat in every
Who
fight
cares?
scene for no reason. And this is supposed to be the greatest film on Earth? The greatest martial arts film on Earth? And we got a putty cat in the background go, meow, when somebody dies? Okay.
What's more martial arts than a cat? In the last movie, everyone was named Tiger.
I mean, those are tiger. Okay, sure, but like at least they were killing people, and there wasn't a meowing cat. You know what really emphasizes my bloodlust? A kitten going meow in the background.
What's more bloodthirsty and bloodlusty than a cat? You're way off base here, Murphy. Way off base.
Cats are murderers.
They're murderers. They love it.
They're murderers. But when it comes to human on human combat, they really eschew the atmosphere of violence and impact. When I hear,
can you imagine if a human murdered another human and just started batting it around for like 45 minutes? That would be twisted.
That's what I think some heavyweight boxing matches look like. When they get tired, they just look like big wet cats, just like.
It's true, they do.
Oh, have a seat.
Was that it? No. It was...
Give it up on the cat. Oh my god. Anyway, so the tournament's going on. Ray Jackson has to fight Bolo, and that doesn't go so well. Because that's the worst part of the movie, actually, is like he was beating Bolo, and he just decides to turn his back on him and cheer for like 5 minutes. It's just like, surely there was a better way to write in Bolo beating him, but also giving him some shine, which is what they were trying to do. It's like in wrestling, where like they don't want if the bad guy wins, it always, you had to hit him with a chair when the ref wasn't looking or something, It's like that sort of a thing. They wanted to put the shine on the good guy, but have the bad guy win. But it just wasn't the best written way to do that, I didn't feel. But
so Bolo semi-kills Jackson in the ring because Jackson's like, I'm not.
He roughs him up real good.
I'm winning.
He busts him up real good. He has to go to the hospital. He's out of the tournament.
It's not good.
Like, it's weird. Like, their relationship is a little weird. Dukes and Jackson,
Dukes
because they
and
don't
Jackson?
really spend that much time together, but they're basically making out at the end of the movie in the hospital.
Oh yeah, no, the bromance is off the charts. But yeah, you get,
but it's inexplicable.
We get to your favorite scene shortly after Jackson,
because I laugh out loud. So yeah, so this music, it's because of this music. Like this music, you imagine he's going to start thinking about his girl or maybe his sensei. But instead, this music is so out, like it doesn't match. He's thinking about, he's
thinking about it all. He's thinking about his girl and sensei. He's thinking about that blonde girl. He's thinking about Jackson.
But it's like this, but then he just sees Bolo. Bolo gives him the eyes. Oh my god. I laugh out loud when he does it. It's like bullshit. But he's so haunted by this fighter. But the music, like, now it should be a threatening music.
Strange.
He's thinking about the guy who just beat the shit out of his friend, but it's just this, like, romance ballad or something in the background. The whole thing is hilarious. That is so 80s. Like, if somebody were to ask me what's the 10 best ways to experience the 80s, watching Bloodsport would be on that list.
I haven't seen a relationship gayer than, Maverick and Goose and Top Gun between Dux and Jackson.
No.
Yeah. No, they're the Maverick and Goose. Dux and Jackson are the Maverick and Goose of martial art films.
I guess
so. I'll subscribe to that.
All right. Fine enough. So then we get to the end of the movie, basically. The tournament continues. The cops have given up because they can't catch Dukes. They keep trying. They try to tase him. It doesn't work out. They just
they do catch him. They do catch him.
They don't catch him.
They go on the most ridiculous.
He goes
chase.
with them. Yeah, they go on a stupid chase.
They go on the most ridiculous, and he's like toying with them for like 4 or 5
hilarious.
Blocks. Like you're in the middle of like Kowloon, China. You literally could take 3 left turns and a right and lose them. Like there's any amount of back alleys, but you get them into a river at one point. Sure, silly, wacky games, and it makes Forrest Whitaker kind of look foolish. But then the cops are just like, "Well, we're bringing you back. If you don't bring you back, we're gonna bring you back." And then Nukes is like, "Just let me finish the kumite. I must win for my friend."
He's like, "I'll meet you on the plane tomorrow." And they're like, "You better be there, Frank." But they go to the tournament. They watch him.
They go to the tournament. The super secret tournament manages to let Janice and the cops in. Unexplained. They're just
Janice doesn't make a lot of sense, really, and her motivations don't make a lot of sense.
She's a reporter that wants to report on the kumite, and the best part is she's gonna make audio notes in the middle of a very raucous crowd that's got to be perfect to write down. It's like oh my god, a man just died. Audio note, chaos. This man's leg just got broken. Just like
her report just ends up being about a cat. We're into this kumite. We just couldn't get
every time I listen to this, I hear meow.
That's the whole tape.
Yeah. So
somebody put this report in a box of kittens.
The big final has to be Dukes versus Chong Li, and it's interesting because they changed the platform. It was a flat platform before, but for the final they like raised 2 edges, so you can do crazy jump kicks and stuff. Easier to do crazy big time moves for the big final fight, which is what they could have used in Come Drink With Me. Step up the fight scene a little if you can. But it's a fine fight, I guess. Between the fights aren't great by modern standards or anything, but they're fun to watch. Like because you can see all the influences towards Street Fighter and things like that. Like the Street Fighter Ryu jump kick is Jean-Claude Van Damme's jump kick. Like that's 100% the exact same pose. Like they've taken so much from this movie, but that's it. He beats Chong Li. He just doesn't kill him. He has the chance. The worst thing about this movie for me
he makes him say motion. What was the word?
Yeah. Oh, he makes him. It's kumite. You have to say kumite. It's like half the word. It's like kuma or kumit or something.
I thought it was like mute or something like that. I thought it started with an M.
Yeah.
Basically, he's saying "I quit." It was an "I quit" match. He used the Rock and he put a microphone in Mick Foley's face. Say the words, Mick. Say the words. I quit. Sorry, I just had wrestling flashbacks there. I literally just went back to 17 and watched the most traumatic wrestling match of my career ever. Just The Rock pounding Mick Foley's head in with a steel chair to the point where he's unconscious, and they use an audio recorder to make him lose the match. If you're a wrestling fan, you know what I'm talking about. You're right there with me.
Yeah.
Hey, wrestling is a martial arts, and you can't say it's not.
Oh my God, get out of here, Murphy. The only thing faker than the fights in this movie is professional wrestling. So get out of here.
It's still a martial arts. It qualifies.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
God,
the term martial arts means the art of like body form or something like that, or motion, body
self-defense.
No, it's
martial
not.
mean martial. The word. What does the word martial refer to, Murphy?
I believe the
what does
origins
the term martial mean, Murphy?
Martial. I think you're thinking of like martial, MARSHALL, not martial arts.
I am not.
I'm fairly certain,
it refers to a military application. It's about self-defense, or not military, but of a combat. It's about real fighting. Okay, martial arts is real defense in different forms. Which, like, you're not going to defend yourself with a body slam if somebody attacks you with a knife.
I don't know. If someone body slammed me, I'd probably die.
I'd body slam somebody. I've given somebody a DDT in a fight. I've given somebody a DDT in a fight. Stop the fight too.
It wasn't Bloodsport level, but anyway.
He probably broke the guy's neck.
But that's it. He makes him win. He wins the tournament. He meets them on the plane. He sneaks onto the plane because he's also the world's greatest spy. And they're looking for him. He's like, "Hey guys, I've been waiting for you up here." And they're like, Frankie. But this was your pick. Tell us about Bloodsport a bit, Chow.
I think everything's been said.
What happened to my camera?
Hello.
I don't know. You're out of focus. At autofocused.
Put your glasses on. Oh, there you go.
There we go. My glasses. It was my screen. It was your guys' glasses. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fun. It's fun.
It's so fun.
There's a cat meowing in the background. It's constant.
Shut up, Murphy. All right.
Yeah. You're just going to notice it every time you watch the film now. That's all.
But the only thing more entertaining than Bloodsport is that YouTube documentary on Frank Dukes. Go check that out. It'll blow your mind. It's just so twisted. And people were so gullible at one point about martial arts in the world. Like that time will never come again. You could just tell people stuff and they would believe you before internet fact checking. But yeah, it's the best movie ever. Let's talk about it. So, which performance would you hold up? I meant in our little end roll here. Performance would you hold up? I'm gonna say Donald Gibb.
Donald Gibb. I mean,
yeah, Ray Jackson.
He's definitely putting on the most performance out of anybody because it's like his biggest paycheck and probably one of his biggest role next to
Zangief,
Revenge of the Nerds,
and Zangief.
Was he Zangief?
Got paid for Zangief.
Yeah, he wasn't Zangief.
Pretty sure he was.
No, there's no way Donald Gibb was Zangief.
All right, I'm looking it up. Which performance would you hold up, Chow?
Bolo for sure.
Yeah, he was good. He was intimidating.
He looked the part.
I can't believe he's 55 in that. Okay, you're right. He wasn't Zangief.
That's what I thought. I was like, I would remember if Donald Gibb was a Zangief. He'd be a great Zangief. That's not a terrible casting.
That's why I thought he was Zangief. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, he should have been Zangief. Zangief was played by Andrew Brynierski. But, yeah, performances. Chow, did you pick one?
Yeah.
I went Bolo.
Oh, yeah, you went Bolo. What did you move, Murphy?
You know what? I'm going to give it to Roy Chow as Tanaka. The old
guy who doesn't even have a line? I don't even think he says anything.
I know, that's why it's the best performance.
Does he?
Yeah, he says lines. He's like, he talks about his father to father, you know, how martial arts is supposed to be transferred from his was supposed to be transferred from father to son to father to son to father. So there's that whole like meaningful dialogue he has with Jean-Claude Van Damme where Jean-Claude's like, I'll be your son. You train me, Papa, and I will learn the martial arts for you. And
I tried to
the
steal
sword,
from
Papa.
you. Don't you want to train me like your son?
No, he didn't try to steal from him. He just entered the place, then he wanted to put it back, and then he got his ass beat by the other son. And then he's like, all right, I will train from you, Papa. And then his son died, and then he actually got to learn when he was, 25 or something like that. And, he goes and fights a Kumite.
He's supposed to be even younger than that. He's supposed to be 19
like 21
or
something.
I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be 19.
Roy Chow.
It's so insane.
For the role of
Honestly,
Tanaka.
I'm changing my pick. The best actor is the best actor in this movie. It's Forrest Whitaker. He doesn't have much to do in this, but he's the only real actor in this movie, and his lines are actually believable.
His chopstick game is weak sauce, though. It's terrible chops. Just, what is this?
Can you blame him? Can you blame him?
My chopstick game is pretty weak, too.
I know. Just look at you.
You used to try to teach me how to hold them. It never really worked out. Setting aesthetic. This movie actually looks amazing. It's so gritty, and like it's filmed in Kowloon Walled City, so it's a bit of a time capsule. Yeah, it fits the tone and the subject matter of the film perfectly. It's just so gritty, and it feels real. Like when they're running through the streets, like they didn't create any sets. They're just running through people going.
Yeah, no, you can definitely tell there's people that are just like, what is happening? Why are these people running? Like,
why is this there's Belgian American teasing these cops?
I remember this one dad walking his daughter or whatever, and then like Jean-Claude Van Damme just like runs by them, and he's like, oh, and he like pulls his daughter to the side. And he's like, what's happening? Like,
this well-cut white guy. He's just running.
And then a cat meowed.
Yeah.
Cat meowed.
Yeah, no, the setting aesthetic, it fit the part. You go to the place, the origin of it all, and it's not hard. Like it still mostly looks like that today, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I went there in 2007. Looked the same.
To Kowloon?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just less wall.
Yeah.
Less wall. Yeah. Interesting. Well, you got some morsels for us, I bet, for this movie, Murphy. But we don't need to talk about Frank Dukes. You could pick up morsels about Frank Dukes for hours. Like I was wondering what your morsels were going to be for this, because like you could go on forever if you wanted
tidbits, but I didn't go too hard on the guy.
All right.
So yeah, Bloodsport, 1988 movie morsels. Jean-Claude Van Damme actually knocked out Bernard Marino with his elbow, and the scene made it into the movie.
Might as well keep it. Yeah, man. It looked good.
This is one of the few films featuring scenes filmed inside Kowloon Walled City before its destruction.
Time capsule.
Frank Dukes was the fight coordinator for this film, and when Jean-Claude Van Damme was cast, Dukes announced that Van Damme wasn't nearly in good enough shape and put him through a 3-month training program. Van Damme, a world championship martial artist in his own right, called it the hardest training of his life. Van Damme has stated that prior to this film, he was working odd jobs and was literally broke. He did everything he could to secure this role, going as far as training for 10 hours a day and changing his appearance to look more American and receiving dental work to get the perfect Hollywood teeth, even though they weren't that perfect. The movie was touted...
didn't spend much time on his American accent.
No. The movie was touted as a true story, but again, over the years, doubts have arisen about his veracity. Most martial arts enthusiasts consider Frank Dukes' accounts of competing in secret tournaments a complete fiction, along with his claims he was an undercover CIA operative. Some have pointed out that nobody else has confirmed his story or told their own version. It is now generally accepted that Dukes lied his way into the Hollywood and has most likely never competed in a martial arts tournament. According to records obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, Dukes was in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve and was never posted overseas. The CIA has no record of him ever working with them. And his personal brand of martial arts, Dukes Ryu Ninjutsu, is also a complete fabrication. Paulo Toca is a real-life Muay Thai champion. He's the guy who's doing like the Sangeet style. Muay Thai fighting. Style, yeah, Paulo Toca. He's been another.
He looked like a real fighter. Like the stance was there.
Yeah, he had some of the better fight scenes and stuff like that. He was all about it.
A lot of them seemed to be real fighters. Like there was a karate guy who seemed to know what he was doing.
I found it really distracting that like the one black martial art guy, his entire style was basically being a monkey and breaking coconuts with his hands. That was
weird. I think
it was cringy.
I took it as capoeira, to be honest.
It was not capoeira. There's not that much like with capoeira.
Oh,
like,
maybe not. But like a lot of like
there's more like
his...
dancing and like straight legging. That was just straight up monkey walking around the ring and then jumping on the guy occasionally. It was straight offensive.
It
was
didn't get
not
many hits
subtle.
off.
No,
it wasn't a good style.
Midway's hit video game Mortal Kombat 92 took huge inspiration from the film and even used a parody of Jean-Claude Van Damme for the character Johnny Cage, who has a similar
parody.
costume.
He was supposed to play.
Okay, hang on. It was a parody. It ended up being a parody because they couldn't get Jean-Claude Van Damme to do it. So Johnny Cage ended up being a parody. He has similar costume, backstory, and a familiar split punch, according to the game creator John Tobias.
He punches straight forward.
They wanted to make a gritty game based on the film, and now in 2023 in the MK1 re-release version, so basically Mortal Kombat has gone full circle and they're calling it MK1 now. And Jean-Claude Van Damme is now an actual playable character as Johnny
I read
Cage.
That.
He's actually come full circle and is in Mortal Kombat as a Johnny Cage, but it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's doing the voice lines. He's doing
they're both in it, right?
Like, no, Johnny. Okay, so Johnny
Cage. Johnny Cage.
No. Johnny Cage is in it, but it's multiple universes, and Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a version of Johnny Cage. So he's Johnny Cage and has the Johnny Cage moveset, but he has Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the voice lines. It's just good. Just good.
Johnny Cage has Jean-Claude Van Damme's moveset. Let's get this straight right now.
Fair enough. Yes. In the tournament scene, Jean-Claude Van Damme is seen trading kicks when fighting a guy in a gray karate suit with long hair.
Oh, I love that scene. They're just hauling off and kicking each other, no defense or nothing. They're just like, yeah.
This fighter is veteran Hong Kong stunt performer and top-notch martial artist Yu Shu Wu. He was told to tone down his kicking skills to make Van Damme look better on screen.
And not break him in half.
Yeah. Frank Duke's brick-breaking demonstration is purely fictional, as is the Dim Mak Death Touch, a legendary move fabled in Chinese martial arts folklore. The Dim Mak is an acupressure attack where the attacker quickly strikes his opponent several times in sequence at various spots.
It's the Vulcan death.
It's the five-finger death punch, basically. Striking an opponent in this method can result in broken bones, paralysis, painful muscle spasms, or even instant death. Pepe Cheng's character... Pepe Cheng's character, Jade Fox, uses a paralyzing Dim Mak type attack in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from the year 2000. In this movie, when Chong Li defeats Jackson, they use the same camera angles and slow motion techniques that Bruce Lee uses in Enter the Dragon. Frank Dukes was originally supposed to be played by actor Michael Dudikoff, who previously appeared in canon films like American Ninja, Avenging Force, and Platoon Leader. The filmmakers apparently passed on Dudikoff because of the 6'2" actor was just too tall.
Frank Dukes actually was in a movie by this director. Like there was there's like all the shots, all the fake evidence that Frank Dukes has that he was in the military are all shots from this movie that he was in.
The Platoon Leader one?
Yeah.
In real life, the Koryukai Black Dragon Society was a Japanese far-right ultra-nationalist paramilitary group. Ryohei Uchida, a Japanese martial artist and political theorist, founded the group in 1901. The name is a Japanese transliteration of Heilongjiang, Black Dragon River, the Chinese name for the Amur River, which separates northeastern China and the Russian Far East. Initially, its goal was to halt the Russian Empire's expansion into East Asia. The group had locations around the world throughout its 45-year history. The group was involved in espionage, sabotage, and assassinations. So that's wow. The lineage of martial arts that Frank Duke's character is apparently coming from. Yeah. Cinematography, David Worth, edited by Carl Kress and Michael J. Duthie, music by Paul Herzog and Stan Bush. Release date, Stan Bush, really? It's Transformers Stan Bush. Release date, February 26, 1988. Running time, 92 minutes. A budget of $1.5 to $2.3 million. None of it quite confirmed. Box office of $50 million.
Damn, made some money.
Yeah, it was a big martial arts hit, and it formed.
It's a great movie. It's the best
movie. Lifestyle and generations.
I've seen it. All right, well, let's talk about this. Rewatchability. Yes, I've seen it 25 times, and I will probably watch it 20 more.
I'll watch it again for sure.
And now the 20 times that he sees it more.
Shut up about the cat,
cat. He's gonna hear a cat. 25 times he watched it and he didn't hear. Now he's gonna watch it and he won't get past it. He's gonna be like into a fight scene, then you're just gonna hear a random in the most. He's gonna see Jean-Claude Van Damme go when he like looks at it. It's so apparent. You're never gonna not
because
see
it doesn't
and you're gonna
sound like
hate
a
me
cat.
for it.
If it sounded like a cat,
it's a cat. No, you think it doesn't sound like a cat from the clips I showed you, but when you watch the film, it's most definitely and clearly a cat.
You know what it sounds like, and I bet you it actually is. I'm busting a hole in that theory. I don't think it's a cat. I think because it fits more the setting that we're seeing, it sounds exactly like somebody who's sitting on a chair, just scooching it across the floor a little. That's what it sounds like. And this room is filled with people sitting in chairs. It's just people scooching their chairs, Murphy. There's no cat that always happens to be by the microphone, which makes no sense.
It's a cat. Everybody is
busting a hole in that theory right now. Would you watch this again, Murphy?
I mean, I will watch it again, and I'll not only watch it again, I'll cut out every scene. You know what? I'll just show you the scene where every cat. There's a cat. I'm telling you, there's a cat. It's a cat. There's cats in this movie. I'll watch it hold up.
Yes, it's the best. It has terrible acting in it through the whole thing, and it's still amazing. It still manages to be the best. It's so fun to watch. Like there's something to be said about the alchemy in this movie. Like it unlike the last one that had some pieces there that it should have been a better movie, and of course some people thought it was. It won an Academy Award, but that movie won. What do we say about the Academy, fellas? That last movie won an Academy Award. This movie will win nothing ever, but it's so great. It's so great.
Oh shit. I don't know. As much as I love this movie, I don't know if it holds up. Unpopular opinion maybe in this room, but like with the popularity of like the UFC now and MMA, you just know that like everything. I'm
watching the movie now, I can't stop listening.
Yeah, like there's got to be 1,000 YouTube videos of like MMA guys just tearing the shit out of these fight scenes.
I think in comparison to what people watch in real time now, all that just looks so slow. You know what I mean? Like
the slow motion grunts didn't help.
No, they're terrible. I mean, you'd be better off watching any Jackie Chan film where it's fast and fluid and that kind of stuff there. But as much as I love this movie,
every Once Upon a Time in China film by Jet Li is like far superior.
I almost picked Rumble in the Bronx because I love Rumble in the Bronx.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I almost picked a Jackie Chan. I almost picked a Bruce Lee, but I went off the board. What can I say? And this one, all right. So no hold up from you, Chow. What about you, Murphy?
Yeah. I mean, it gets a hold up. It's a silly, ridiculous thing. I mean, it's not the best martial arts film, but it is iconic in the sense that it created a whole.
For me, here's why it holds up. I would rather watch this movie again than watch another John Wick movie. Like I'm not really into those John Wick movies, I will admit, but like people like brag about how great the fighting is and stuff in those. But to me, that isn't necessarily what makes an entertaining movie, because I would rather watch Bloodsport again than watch John Wick. So for me, that's why it does hold up.
You know what? I would rather watch the first 2 John Wicks over Bloodsport, but I'd rather watch Bloodsport over the last 2 John Wicks. 3 and 4 were just awful.
There you go.
Right.
I'll subscribe to that.
All right.
I'll hit that like button.
You'll hit that like button.
Okay. Now, just hang on 1 second before we depart from this. I just needed to show you something here. So I'm just gonna play this.
Of course.
Cat sounds.
Watch this, Frankie. I'm gonna show you how it's done, buddy.
If anything, that's a bird. It's a bird, if anything. That's not what cats sound like.
That's a cat, my guy. If you're a fan of this podcast, let us know if it's a cat or not. This goes on for a minute and 45 seconds. I'm not gonna play it, but my point's been made. There's a cat in the backtrack of Bloodsport.
I think you both have something. Some of those are definitely cat noises, but I think some of it sounds like a bird too.
Davin's just trying to convince himself
it's a bird.
Like a bird because he doesn't want to admit the fact that it's a cat. That's basically where we're at with this. He doesn't want to admit that it's a cat.
Can we talk about the quest?
The quest? Oh God, yes. Could we talk about the quest, please?
This is just this movie all over again.
It is. It kind of is. The quest is just Bloodsport all over again, but like
it's different setting
for a child. It's just like instead of winning a prize tournament, you win a child.
Yeah, that's not what I'd fight for.
I can't say I would either. Anyway,
right,
I think that let's move on. Let's move on to Theater 3. We're going to be talking about Kung Fu Hustle. Did he have a banner set for this? He's doing dad things. Anyway, yeah, Kung Fu Hustle from 2004, starring Stephen Chow, Yuan Kui, Yuan Hua, and Su Long Leong, directed by Stephen Chow.
No relation.
He's my cousin.
No relation. Oh, is he your cousin?
Cousin.
Yeah. I'm sure he is.
So yeah, I picked this film. This was my choice. I picked this film because Davan gave me the impression he hadn't seen this film. Because when
it wasn't memorable, but I had seen it.
Oh, how can you not say this movie's not memorable? What is wrong? Okay,
I enjoyed it, but like I see why I forgot
like
it.
almost every scene from this film from the first time I watched it. This movie
I remembered
my
like
mind
2
back
scenes.
in 2004.
This is a great film.
Man. This is one of the best Kung Fu movies. The reason why I picked this is because Davan was like, I didn't see this. Because I originally picked Ong Bak, which he told me he didn't see. Then he told me he did see. And I was like, okay, well, got to pick something you haven't seen. And then when I mentioned Kung Fu Hustle, he's like, I don't know, I think. And I'm like, if you're saying you think to Kung Fu Hustle, then, sir, you need to watch Kung Fu Hustle. It's just straight to the point. So, I mean... yeah, let's just watch the trailer and get refreshed. So yeah, Danny Kwok Kwan Chun, who plays Brother Sum of the the Axe Gang. Yeah. That guy could be a better Joker than Jared Leto.
Yeah, you're right.
That dude when he's beating their heads in the train, I almost picked that as my favorite scene.
I didn't really enjoy the Looney Tunes kind of stuff as much. This is a really good movie, but like, it was a bit too silly at times for me.
Oh, dude, and like the blind assassins with their like guitar playing.
They're amazing. That's the scene I remembered. I remembered them, and I remembered the deaf girl. So that's it. I kind of forgot everything else. I sort of remembered that guy, but yeah.
Oh, this trailer does not do this movie justice. Kung Fu. Oh, I like that scene where those three are like, we should spar sometime, and they're like, oh, let's not. We don't have time, and then they just start sparring in that one spot. Yeah. God, I love this movie. I love this movie so very much. I don't even know where to begin, but. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle is a movie rife with references and deep cuts and like classic kung fu stars, and is just the better film of the three we watched, because even in the fight scenes there's so much impact to the action that happens, especially from like the opening, just from the opening. Even in the opening there's like layers of
except when it's too silly.
Except for, like, okay, so there's like very brief moments when it gets like super Looney Tunesy cartoonish and they dial it up. But like even then, like I kind of buy into it and I'm like, whatever, I'm for it. I'm down.
I think this is a great
kind of would have been a little bit.
Because it's got great fighting. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's obviously, it pays, you know, an homage to older kung fu style movies, but it's also a parody at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. It's basically the tale. It stars in Shanghai, China in the 1940s, and the way they started is
hot shots is what it is.
It's what?
It's
Kung Fu Hot Shots? I don't know about that. Yeah, maybe a bit. Not even. No, I can't agree with that. No, the movie starts off. You get this sort of like sense of levels of onion levels of badness. It starts off with the shot of an inspector at a police station, and he's just frozen, and then you see the camera just pan through and all these cops are all frozen because there's this leader of the alligator gang who's basically beating on the police commissioner because the police commissioner thought it would be a great idea to arrest this guy's wife because she spit in the street. And he beats her up, and he's thinking he's the king of the walk, and he leaves the place. And as he's leaving, the Axe Gang just slowly surrounds him, and he's just surrounded by like thousands of dudes in top hats and axes. And it's brilliant. And he starts to realize he's not the big fish in the pond. And you get introduced to Brother Sum and his like awesome Joker-esque character where he beats the crap out of the guy with a hat. And then he's like, don't worry, I don't kill women. And then she starts to walk away. She's like, thank you, big brother. And then he calls for a shotgun and he just shoots her in the back and then dances with it and tosses it away. Like, it's so Joker-esque. And you just like, it's really hard to pin down like who the main, you know, protagonist of this film is. And then you get introduced to Pigsty Alley, because they basically say, you know, at this time in Shanghai, China, axe gangs were running the most influential, richest parts of town, and the only place you could actually get some sort of peace is in like the slums. So we're introduced to the slum place, which is run by a landlord and landlady, and you're introduced to all the characters in it. It starts off with like, who's it start off with? It starts off with the coolie. He's like picking up like 3 bags of rice. He's just like this strong looking dude, and he like kicks up another bag of rice, and you start getting this sort of these motions of like Crouching Tiger, Hidden style, you know, fanciful wire worked martial arts, if you will. And you get introduced to basically the 3 little pigs of Pigsty Alley, which is Coolie, the tailor, and Donut, the noodle shop guy. And you see their sort of daily lives and all that stuff, and they're going about their business. And that's when the actual protagonist, which is Stephen Chow's character, Singh, and his partner, which is Bone, which is the big guy, they enter the town and they try to scam like the local barber out of a free haircut and some money. And then you get introduced to the landlady and the landlord, and like it's just their characters are
but he's just like, no. They're like,
huh? Everybody just knows.
The barber. He's just like, no.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not giving you money. You're trying to blackmail me.
He's like, you pay me. He's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's hilarious too, because there was also one of my this is one of my favorite scenes is early on where it's like Singh's character, Stephen Chow's character, he's like, you know what, you guys, you're all so tough, let's get into a fight, how about this? And then he's like, you lady, let's get into a fight. And this like farmer lady comes up and whaps him in the face or in the gut, and he just coughs up a bunch of blood. He's like, what do you do? She's like, I'm a farmer. He's like, farmers don't fight, get away from me. You over there.
That was my second favorite scene.
And this tall guy stands up. He's like, no, you're too tall. How about you, old man? Big muscly guy's like, no, you kid. Kid comes out, the kid's muscly. He's like, what is going on?
What? No one wants to fight one-on-ones today?
Yeah. The landlady comes out, starts to give him shit and slap him upside the head, and it's just like progressively like funnier like character progression and building. And he ends up being like, oh yeah, well I'm gonna call in backup, and he throws this tiny little firecracker because earlier you got the firework from the Axe Gang and all that stuff, from the Alligator Gang. Anyway, the firecracker pops off on this like general's head, and he's like, who threw the firecrackers? Hair's all messed up, and then he goes to like hit somebody. You get this flash of the scene, and he's ended up in a basket with a broken back. He's like, what? Did anybody see anything? And like at this point in the movie, you don't know who or what's going on. You don't know what to expect. And I picked this scene as my favorite because they fire off the firework, and the Axe Gang, the real Axe Gang, comes in town. And this is my favorite scene in the movie, and it gets me so hyped for everything that happens. The Joker character basically is like wants to find out who did it to his general. So they starts pouring gasoline on this mother and this kid. I wish this was the Cantonese version because it's an English dub and it just doesn't have the same punch. If you watch this movie, you gotta watch it in like the original audio.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, who did this?
Oh yeah, it's way different.
Yeah, right?
I will count to 3.
He doesn't even finish 3.
2.
Got ye.
Yeah, ye.
It was me.
He says, I did it. Like, it's the way he says, I did it, just pumps me up. In the original version, where he says it was me in the like English dub, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooley is such a great character.
Yeah.
Except for his very unceremonious death, he goes out easy.
I know.
Well, that's the thing.
Big fight scenes with the other two, and they just kill him.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like these, oh god, it's such a, like, that's what I love about this film is because you're like, oh, I guess this Cooley guy is the main protagonist, and he's a guy we're gonna get behind, and then things progress, and you get introduced to the tailor and Donut, and they come out with their staffs and the brass rings, and they just beat all ass. And this is like the first 20 minutes of the film, like it hasn't even gotten to the good stuff yet, you know. Just the opening of this film is just so action-packed and wonderful. And yeah, they wipe town, and the Axe Gang was like, whoa, we need help. We got to figure this out. And then you start getting this sort of A-B plot where the landlord and landlady are concerned about the Axe Gang coming around, so they try and get the 3 pigs to leave the slum town, or their little, apartment building, whatever, before the Axe Gang come back and cause more damage. The Axe Gang, they proceed to take Singh and Bone, and they're about ready to like hang them or something. Like they've got them strung up, and they go to throw axes at them, but Singh pops out of the locks real quick, gets Bone out of it. Then they're, the Axe Gang's like, we could probably use these guys. Go kill somebody, and you can be a part of this gang, because Singh just wants to be rich and all that stuff. You eventually get this sort of like little backstory between him and this deaf girl.
No, he wants to be bad.
Yeah, he wants to be bad because he got picked on. Yeah, he wants to be super bad. But you eventually get through revelation the backstory of Singh, where he was a kid, and this old street urchin, I guess you could say, comes up to him and is like, "You've got a good spirit, strong bones. I bet you need to know the spirit of the Buddhist palm," and teaches and basically convinces the kid to give him his life savings for this $10 book. And Singh thinks he knows martial arts, tries to help this little deaf girl who's getting her candy taken away. Singh, tries to attack the bullies. The bullies beat him up and piss on him, which is a pretty rough scene just like a group of kids just pissing on this one kid. It's like, oh wow. Yeah, so Singh realizes this when he sees the
Is
candy
it as
girl.
rough as stabbing a kid in the eye with a poison dart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Singh realizes that the ice cream girl is the same candy girl, you know, and she wants to basically thank him, which she does through like Chinese sign language. She's like, "You helped me, thank you," you know, tries to tell him all that stuff, but he's not having it. He just wants to be the bad guy. The Axe Gang then hire the 2 blind assassins, the musicians, and they go back to the town, killing the three pigs, 3 wise pigs, you know. They kill Cooley, as you said, in the most unceremonious way, just catching him down
Did
the
you
street.
happen to read the 3 Little Pigs nursery rhyme improperly? I'm not really getting this pigs analogy. Is that what they call them in this movie?
Technically, yeah. There's a reference to them being like the 3 little pigs because they're in Pigtown Alley, and the Axe Gang's kind of like the big bad wolf coming knocking, and then they start fighting back, and yeah, they start getting picked off one by one until the landlord and the landlady come out of their like drunken arguing stupor to block the attacks of the blind assassins by using like the lion's roar. And those guys are like, "It's a real thing, oh my god, we didn't know," and they get their asses beat by the landlord and the landlady, which I think is just a great scene. The way he just shows up on their shoulders and he's all like, "Huh," and then he's the real drunken cat in my eyes, if you think about it.
Were they married in real life? They have the same last name.
I don't know if they are married in real life. They might be. Anyway, yeah, the landlord and landlady, they just whoop all ass, and you see like their true powers, how they're these like fabled lover masters. There's a bunch of like references to ancient Chinese lore on the symbology of their characters, and a lot of these characters throughout this movie have these like shared symbologies. So yeah, that scene is super awesome. You know, I wanted to pick that as my favorite, but I ultimately went with the scene I did choose. I did like the leading up to Cooley where he's walking and he's unaware that this guy is trying to attack him, and like leaves are falling and lights are getting cut, and you see this cat jump off the roof and the shadow of it gets split in half and blood hits the wall.
Would you shut up about cats, Murphy? I've had enough of
Wow.
It's cat foo hustle, baby.
We know what triggers Davan now.
I know, right? So anyway, yeah. These guys get basically the tailor and Donut. They put up a good fight. They ultimately die from their injuries sustained. And the landlord and landlady decide to confront the Axe Gang, but the Axe Gang have one more trick up their sleeve. They want to unleash the beast who's locked up in like this crazy insane like asylum bit, and they get to Singh and Chow. They get Singh because he's cracking locks, so like, "You are really good at this, how about you go let this guy out for us," which they ultimately do. But I will admit I did kind of skip one bit. Apparently this is your guys' favorite scene, which happens a little earlier. So Chow and Singh go back to the slum alley, and they try to make an assassination attempt on the landlady.
Watch this.
Again, the original Cantonese version just plays better.
What happened? Can you do better? Go on, try. To throw it? Of course. Oh.
I laughed my ass off watching this scene again.
I think you should try.
When he puts it back in after he pulls it out, it's the hilarious part.
Oh. Okay, this is with the English dub.
Who did this to you? It's missing a handle.
It's different from the subs.
Yeah.
Fingerprints.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this can't be the same knife, can it? You know?
What are you trying to say?
I forgot that I have something important to take care of. See you later.
Oh no, she's
on me. Yeah, this is the perfect bit of like slapstick comedy.
Yeah. It evolves from like slapstick into like straight Looney Tunes when she starts chasing him down the street and they're running faster than cars and like pulling off some crazy stunts, and then she hits a sign and all of her things go like flying away. Like it's the most ridiculous scene in the film for sure, but you know, it's forgivable considering every other scene around it is just like amazing and impactful and a lot of fun. But yeah, singing mostly unlocks the beast, who when he opens the door, he goes through all this like treacherous hallways and sneakiness, and he gets up to the door and he gets this like Kubrick like blood pouring out of the elevator scene, which is definitely a reference to The Shining. And there's all these bullfrogs in the hallway, which is supposed to be sort of foreshadowing of what their battle is going to be like. And he opens the door and it's just this old man on the shitter with a newspaper. And then they cut to the scene, and the Axe Gang, he's sitting there in the chair, and he's just like, I don't want to fight. I could have been free whenever I want, but there's nobody worth my time. On his toe. Yeah, there's this sandal dangling on his toe, and he's just like, there's nobody worth my time for me to fight. So, and they're like, well, the Axe Gang's like, do something, Beast, prove it. And then he gets Singh to go hit him, and Singh runs up and then taps him on the forehead, and then runs away, and he's like, is he okay? Beast starts laughing, and then one of the Axe Gang members comes on and starts hauling him in the face. He's like, harder, harder, harder. Just getting that real sub mentality on. Gets whipped and doesn't even react. And then he takes a gun. He's like, oh, vintage. And he shoots himself in the head, but catches the bullet to show how fast he is. And the whole Axe Gang's like, you're the boss now, you know. And then Beast gets up and just like kicks a hole in the wall and walks straight towards the landlord and the landlady who are at this poker table, looking fine as anything. Like their get up at this point looks great. And then you just had this awesome fight where the landlady and the landlord are trying to beat the Beast, and they're breaking shit, and they get sort of like this 3-person jujitsu tie up where nobody can quite move. And that's when Singh comes in with the stick. And he cracks Brother Sum in the forehead, who starts bleeding from the forehead. And then he goes and he hits the Beast, and the Beast just pops out. And then pummels his head into the ground like 5 times, like deep, elbow deep into the ground. That's how far his head's bent back. Like this man should be dead. But for some reason, he's got Wolverine healing powers. He can just heal himself because he's got strong chi. And the Beast goes to hit him, and then he's disappeared, and the landlord and landlady, they're just like off and they're running. And they proceed to heal Singh and put him in like this like Chinese medicine cocoon. And they're like, who would have thought he can heal so well? The Beast unlocked his chi. And that's when he becomes the One. He's got his white get up, and he comes out and he just like beats ass, all the Axe Gang ass in the best ways manageable. And then ultimately, you know, he starts having the battle with the Beast, who goes like frog mode and knocks him into the air. Like they have all these sweet exchanges, but he like launches him in the air, and that's when Singh like turns it around and goes like full, gives him the real Buddhist palm, starts falling from sky. Well, he gets in the air, but then he jumps off the back of a hawk and does a backflip. What is the point of that? It's just, I don't know what the point of it is, but it looks cool. There's just a random hawk, and he manages to just jump off the back of it, re-catch his balance, and then proceed to like counteract the attack that he just had. And he drops like this giant Buddhist palm, stops. The Beast is like, what? You didn't? And then he proceeds to try and stab him with his little poison flower pen, which Singh, you know, catches, and then hits another Buddhist palm, destroys half of the building, the apartment buildings. Hopefully nobody's in there. There's a handprint size thing in the palm. But he's like, what's the technique? He's like, I can teach it to you. I don't know if he was talking about the Buddhist palm technique or the like little spinny flower. I never quite understood. I choose to believe it's the little flower technique, and the Beast is just like, oh, what's that? You know,
No, you can do that.
You can do that? I can teach you, and calls him master, and that's how the movie ends. And I think it's one of the best martial art kung fu films in all of the history of martial art films.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Good. It was really well done.
Yeah, I had to pick this movie because if Davan said he didn't see it, then I was like, you absolutely must. If you need a refresher, then you must. He's got an upset baby he's trying to protect us from, which we appreciate. But yeah, Chow, what do you think of Kung Fu Hustle? What was your first experience to this film, and what were your first initial thoughts to it, and what did you think about it on the rewatch?
I first watched this with my parents, believe it or not, and they came back, like, you're gonna laugh at this, but they had a DVD rip of it.
Nice.
They ripped it.
Nice.
They bought it from some Chinese guy, and yeah, we watched it, and I thought it was great. It was also really weird because there's a lot of actors in that movie, especially the fated lovers, or the landlady, landlord. They, like my parents growing up, whenever it became available, it was digital cable or satellite, they got like this Chinese channel, and it just played like Chinese soap operas and like just really bad television.
Your dad always had it playing in the kitchen, right, at the restaurant.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was always on in the kitchen in the restaurant there, and those two actors were like in every soap opera, and like Chinese soap operas are like B movies in the soap opera world. Like it's like you know how bad soap operas are in general. The Chinese versions are just that much worse. And so I found it weird that they were in it, but they're always on the news, like Chinese game shows. They show up everywhere.
Yeah.
So
they're
I thought that was kind of weird, but no, I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was a great like revival.
But are they married? They have the same last name.
You know what? I don't know. To be honest, when you asked that, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, it was a great revival for like kung fu movies, if you ask me. It was a good fresh.
Yeah, it would have came out around the same time as like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? And
it came out 4 years after that, so
kind of like a silly kind of almost rebuttal to that. Like,
yeah,
a little bit, yeah, because
it was
is
silly in
parody
such a
in a
way.
sense.
Yeah, it was a parody, really, because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, a lot of the fight scenes are, they're running and flying through the air,
it's just artsy.
Doing a bunch of
artsy.
Crazy shit, right? And this one,
floating trees. And
yeah,
I feel like if I wanted to go full parody, I would have picked Kung Pao. Legend.
I was about to mention that's almost too. Yeah, that you're right. That's full parody. That's outrageous. That movie.
Yeah. That's so outrageously parodied. Yeah. No, this was like the happy medium of just enough Looney Tunes to like progress the plot but not ruin the film. And like the real bread and butter are the fight scenes and everything that gets to them, because every fight scene is just like impactful. Every hit just feels like it hurts. Well, I would say a good like 95%. There's probably a few that are probably like, there's some scenes where like Donut is just like swirling the stick so fast that it causes up a dust storm, and then they just yada yada, everybody's knocked on the ground. Or like there's a scene when Singh he's going through all the Axe Gang, and then there's like a lineup, like an old boy lineup of Axe Gang members between him and the Beast, and he hits one or two, and then they cut to the Beast, and then they cut back to Singh, and he's standing in front of the Beast, but behind them they're just all over. They're in the ceiling, they're in the wall, there's like an ass hanging out of a window, there's a guy over a rail, they're just everywhere, and your imagination sort of fill in the blanks. But yeah, it's just solid film.
And I was super pumped when I thought we were going to watch Ong Bak too, because that's another movie where every fight scene, it looks like everything hurts.
Brutal.
That movie feels real. Like I was kind of disappointed in the pick. I'm like, oh, but Ong Bak, and you're like, no, Kung Fu Hustle. I was like, no, Ong Bak.
But I understand this is all your fault, Davan.
Yeah,
apparently.
That's what I'm taking away from this.
Yeah, Murphy likes to blame me for everything.
We could have watched Under the Dragon. I've never seen Under the Dragon. I would have loved to give my opinion on a movie I've never seen before. But, you know, you made me watch Come Drink With Me, which is, my opinion is, it was meh. It's whatever. It's fine. It's okay. We're here.
But you learned yourself
We're here at the end of this.
You watched yourself an Academy Award-winning film.
Academy Award-winning film. It was one thing I know with the Academy is they give awards to a lot of bad films.
Well, that's true.
The Apartment was an Academy Award-winning film too, Davan.
Which performance when you hold up? I mean, there's quite a few good performances in this movie.
I thought. Oof, go ahead.
Kui Yuan, the landlady, her is just so iconic of a performance. Everything she does, every scene, owns it. So she gets my hold up performance for sure.
I'd give it to Sing, but I did find the Beast very good.
Yes, the Beast was great. Yeah. Siu Long Leong.
Yeah.
So who'd you go with, Davan?
The Beast.
Sing. No, Sing. But I said.
Oh, you went with Sing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go Beast.
Okay.
He's just funny.
He is
so
funny.
unassuming.
So unassuming. Yeah. He's a great villain too, because he's just like, whatever. He's like if One Punch Man got super old and aggressive.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like they make his hair so threadbare looking. Like I don't know how they do that. They must have like got in there with scissors and thinned it out. Because I've seen pictures of the guy and his hair isn't like that. Like
just even when he does the frog pose and it's just like, bruh, bruh, like it's just such a like iconic like imagery like that stuck with me for 20 years. It's been 20 years since this movie come out. Like greatness. It's really one of if I had to think about it, is probably one of my top 5 favorite films ever. Like truly.
Go on.
Just because of it's so well layered.
You're right. It's a great movie. It's a great all-around movie, I think.
The setting aesthetic, I think it's very good. It's like I say, it just loses me a bit when it gets too Looney Toony. Like I didn't laugh when the landlady hit that sign in that. Like none of that stuff really worked for me. But there wasn't a whole lot of that. Like
that's like the one scene really.
I mean, you could say the musicians, the way they throw knives from their strings is very cartoony, but I like that. That didn't bother me. That was the most. Yeah, that's the scene I remembered.
The dude were like just okay. Let's talk about that for a second. The scene where Buddy's like playing the instrument and he's not sitting in a chair. He's just like sitting on his bent leg.
He stands. Yeah,
he's not even.
They both do it, and they rest the instrument on.
Yeah, they rest the instrument on the leg, and they're just sitting. They're literally just sitting on their one leg. There's like nothing.
It's
under
so
them.
cool.
They're just that strong. Yeah, I just love the various like the ways they're able to show strength, and they're like, okay, you think this guy's strong, this guy's stronger. You think that guy was strong, this person's even stronger. You thought this person was strongest. Turns out this people in the background, they're even stronger than these people. You thought these people, like it just keeps building up to the point where you get a man falling out of the sky, dropping a Buddhist palm. Like, it's so well built. The sets.
I don't know. For me, the movie does go a little downhill once Sing becomes like, I don't know, his cocoon. He comes out of his cocoon and he's
the last like 15 minutes of the film.
Yeah,
that's when it goes downhill. He's like, oh, he's the one now. It's just, this movie's boring. It's like it's wrapping.
Well, no,
up.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't a strong ending for me. It just kind of becomes the Matrix at the end, and I was like, okay.
It leans heavily on the Matrix sort of references, but I mean, I think it is a strong ending because he does this wild, insane technique. He counters off the back of a flying hawk to do a falling palm technique, which he doesn't finish. Spares his enemy. His enemy attempts a second chance to kill him, and he spares him twice. And without the need to fly into the atmosphere, does the Buddhist palm by just standing there. I think it was a solid ending. Like after you literally watch the man just like with his feet, like just I don't want to say slaughter, but brutalize like 200 to 300 individuals that were basically putties and top hats.
And then, and in the end, after wanting to be a bad guy his whole life, turned out to be a good guy.
Yeah, turned out to be the good guy who had the most chi and was like the one that the landlady and landlord were like, we stopped fighting because our son died, but you know what? Our son would be this guy's age, and we'll never teach martial arts unless they're the one. It turns out this guy's the one.
Then he opened a candy store for the girl. Come on.
So is he?
For the girl, yeah.
I was a little confused by that actually. So were they suggesting that he was their son?
I think they were.
That was confusing.
I don't. No. They definitely affirmed that their son died, but they're more or less suggesting like they're getting the emotional attachment to this stranger who could be their like an adopted sort of son figure. You know, like they're like, you know what, our love that we have lost over the years of our dead child, we could start putting into this person,
like a Frank Dukes.
Yeah, like a Frank Dukes. Except instead of conning his way into a Hollywood film, he cons his way into a candy shop where he'll let you lick the lollipop.
It's true. You lick it, you bought it.
Gonna make that ass drop. Well, I got 50 cents worth of movie morsels for Kung Fu Hustle from 2004. And an August 2010 interview with GQ magazine, Bill Murray, legend himself, praised Kung Fu Hustle, saying it is the supreme achievement of the modern age in terms of comedy, and that there should have been a day of mourning for American comedy the day that movie came out.
Bill Murray said that.
Bill Murray said that. Three scenes are not directed.
Well, Bill Murray hasn't been funny in a long time, though.
You shut your mouth right now.
Yeah, you quiet with them sacrilegious words. Three scenes are not directed by Stephen Chow. The fight reveals the three pigsty masters is directed by Samo Kambo Hung. The Burly Brawl parody, where the one fights the 1,000 man in black suits, and the fight in the night where the three masters face the two musicians, were directed by Wu Peng Yuan. I'm not even. The name Pigsty Alley is a play on the Chinese name for the walled city of Kowloon. It was a Chinese exclave in Hong Kong, and for much of the 20th century, it was well known as a breeding ground of crime, slums, and disorder, and it was torn down in 1993. So the second movie with a Kowloon sort of setting. Most of the names of the superpowers in the film are taken from the pulp novels of Louis Cha, a household name in Hong Kong, often compared to Alexandre Dumas and credited with the invention of modern martial arts swashbucklers. The English dubbing and the English subtitles are almost entirely different scripts, while in some places the phrasing might just be turned around and others whole lines have been rewritten with different jokes and different references. For instance, when Donut dies, in the subtitles he says, "With great power comes great responsibility." In the English dub he just says something entirely different. The landlord and landlady announced to the beast that their names are Yang Guai and the Little Dragon Maiden. In the original Chinese, which is a joke nod to Louis Cha's famous novel Return of the Condor Heroes, adapted many times for television film, unlike the landlord, the original Yang Guo was a handsome youth, and unlike the landlady, the original Little Dragon Maiden was a beautiful young woman. So that's sort of the history and lineage of those two characters. The literal translation of the name of the beast is Dark God of the Fire Clouds. The name was first used by writer Liu Kanyang in his novels in the 1950s and 60s, and his character is originally his protagonist mentor. The menacing sound of the name and comparatively lax copyright laws in Hong Kong have led to the name appearing in many other films, novels, and comics. Dark God of the Fire Clouds is a great title.
That's pretty badass.
There are so many references and deep cuts in this film. I honestly don't have time to recap it all. It would take a whole other video just from its laundry list of top Hong Kong film actors to its massive production. If you've never seen this film, watch it, then spend some time reading up on the production of this incredible film. It's really kind of wild, from the just the amount of effort put into creating the sets and the choreography to the references to other films. Cinematography, Poon Hang Sang, edited by Angie Lam, music by Raymond Wong, release date September 14th, 2004, and technically 23rd December. 98 minutes, $20 million budget with a box office of $104.9 million. It's a grand slam this movie was in 2004.
Can't believe. Well, he was supposed to make a second one, wasn't he?
There has been talks of a Kung Fu Hustle too. Yeah, I don't know if it's actually going to happen or not.
It's kind of weird, right? Like this was a huge success for this guy, for Stephen Chow.
Yeah, it was easily one of Stephen Chow's biggest films. Like this and Shaolin Soccer is basically what got him this film. I'm not entirely sure what he's been up to be honest with you. Let's take a look. The IMDb. Journey to the West Demon Chapter. That was the last thing he was in. That was in 2017.
Come on, man.
He has not been acting. He was in Kung Fu Hustle, Chungang Seven Hu, The Founding of a Republic, Chungang Seven Hu, Oi De Kao, and Journey to the West Demon Chapter. Yeah, he's been taking a sabbatical. Well, I think, that's one
rewatchability.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd watch this again. I've watched it once before a long time ago, and I forgot the whole thing. So upon the rewatch,
the best part is
enjoyable.
You can rewatch this movie, and the only cat you'll hear or see is the one that gets cut in half.
Does it hold up? Murphy's cat references don't hold up.
This holds up.
Yeah, it does. It's a great movie.
Oh, hell yeah. It's one of the greatest of all time.
I don't know about that. I certainly wouldn't go that far.
You were calling Bloodsport one of the greatest movies of all time, and there's a cat meowing in the background.
It's not sound a cat, it's clearly a bird. It's clearly a bird.
No, it's a cat. I can play the cat video for you again if you want.
No, the bird video? No thanks.
The video of the cats meowing. Listen, if you've watched this, comment. Let Davan know if it's a cat or a bird. I bet you it's going to be cat.
Well, we've got a C movie, a B movie, and an A movie tonight.
Yep.
That's what we got there. Come Drink With Me did not land well. Bloodsport, I think Chow maybe lied to himself a little. I think it's probably an A movie.
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if it turned out to be an A movie.
But,
don't give him that leeway. We're gonna leave Bloodsport in the middle because of all the cats.
In my heart of hearts, I know it's a B movie, but
it's
I want to put it in the A.
Well, there it is. So let's do our martial arts movie rankings.
Oh, what is this?
We just ranked the 3 movies we just watched.
What was the best?
Everyone's going to have the same one. Well, we're not actually, because I'm actually going to pick Bloodsport as my number one. Of course you are. Well, it's honest. I'm going to watch Bloodsport many more times in my life going forward than I will Kung Fu Hustle.
Every time you hear the cat, you're going to curse my name.
Yes, but I do that anyway.
Yeah. You are, Davan, you're probably right. I'm going to watch Bloodsport more than I'm going to watch Kung Fu Hustle.
See? Because it's a better movie. It's just so fun. It doesn't have any right to be. Like, I understand the writing, the acting, literally everything is better in Kung Fu Hustle, except somehow the final product and the rewatchability. Like, there's just something about Bloodsport that calls you back.
Nah. I think it's
Jean-Claude Van Damme's Speedo.
So my movie rankings, I'm going to go Bloodsport, Kung Fu Hustle, Come Drink.
crazy, man. It's clearly Kung Fu Hustle's the top of this list. It has the best fight scenes. They're more impactful than any of the fight scenes in any of these other movies.
I don't think they are. Because they're so
I'm
cartoony.
sorry. Yes, they are. Do I need to play my clip again? Where Buddy, like, literally the first major action scene with Cooley hits harder than any of the fight scenes in the previous two movies, and then every fight scene that happens after that is equally harder, or if not more hard. So, like, the fight scenes alone, Kung Fu Hustle is the best film out of the three. Story-wise, Kung Fu Hustle is the best film out of three because it actually has, like, pretty
100%
loopy, like, pretty, like, really well-written stories, dialogue, funny moments, well-acted characters on all fronts, even from side bits from the barbershop to the toothy, like, princess chick with the lipstick and stuff. Like, every character is unique and memorable. In Bloodsport, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, Rickson, and then, like, a couple of the side fighters.
Chong Li,
yeah.
Chong Li's a legend. Chow's workplace thinks he's crazy because of Chong Li.
It's true.
Is Chong Li a legend, though? Is he just a legend in the martial arts scene and he's a kickboxer? Okay, but, like, what other things has Chong Li been in besides Bloodsport?
Enter the Dragon.
Okay, and then what else?
So I have to list off his biography? Look, Chong Li is a legend.
I just, he's... Yeah, I think he has, like, a bit part in Legend of the Dragon,
he's in,
I guess.
Maybe the two best martial arts movies of all time. He's in Enter the Dragon and Bloodsport. What else do you want from a guy?
Wow. That being said, Kung Fu Hustle is far superior of a martial arts film compared to the other two.
Chong Li's a star maker.
Kung Fu Hustle, Bloodsport, Come Drink With Me. That's my list.
I'm torn. Honestly, I'm torn.
You can change your Bloodsport rating.
Kung Fu Hustle.
No, my brain says Kung Fu Hustle, Bloodsport, Come Drink With Me. But my heart says Bloodsport. Kung Fu Hustle.
There's something about it, man. It's all based on the most horse shit ever told in the world, yet it speaks to you.
It's just like, it's one of those movies that it's so bad that it's good.
Yeah. Like what Hackers was supposed to be, but wasn't.
No, man, Hackers is awesome.
It was just bad.
No, you suck.
Hack the world.
Hack the world. Well.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for showing up in costume. I mean, in the regular attire you wear most days.
This is a regular Wednesday night for me.
Regular Wednesday night, and you know what? If it's a regular Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's a night of United Federation podcast. A podcast where we are a federation. We talk about all sorts of things. The old UFOP. We got podcasts for Star Trek with Live Long and Podcast. You get some reviews. You get some radio theaters. You get some game action, some trivial debates. Not trivial debates, Trouble with Trivia and the Debates 9s and First Contacts and Live Long and Podcast, the Locutors of Treks. Just great Star Trek contact. Like interviews with J.G. Hertzler, First Contact. Good stuff. There's also a little thing that Davan's part of called X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show with his co-host Andrè Myette.
By little, he means the fastest growing, biggest X-Men podcast in the podverse.
Exactly, that's what I mean. If you'd missed it last night, in case you missed it, we did a live radio theater reading of an unproduced X-Men script by Robert Skier.
Yep. It was fun.
It was a fun time. You can check that out. You should definitely do that. Andrè,
we're interviewing George Buza, the voice of Beast, next week.
Beautiful. And speaking of interviews, Andrè Myette is a host of Graphic History, the interview podcast, where he interviews artists from all walks in life, has one-on-one chats with them, and gets the deep dives of who they are as an artist.
This week he talked to animation director Bradley Rader, and next week he will be talking to Eric Larson, the creator of Savage Dragon and one of the people to create Image Comics. It's a big get. Going to be a big interview.
Yeah, it's a big get. Eric Larson's a big get. It's got Super Mario Brothers podcast where they talk things like Survivor, Big Brother, also Marvel.
They are brothers.
Marvel Society. They are brothers. I've actually gotten into a little stint with Jaemeel and Dave where I'm showing Jaemeel and Dave the wonderful world of Avatar: The Last Airbender. The first 2 episode reactions are up on UFP if you wanted to check those out. Hopefully I can convince Dave to watch all 3 seasons. That's the real goal. We got Eamon on track. Eamon did a review of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors with Jeff Mader, which is a pretty great album, in my opinion, and I hope they ranked it highly. You can check that out. We also have Trivial Debates. We had a Disney-themed debate recently, and our next debate is going to be an Avatar: The Last Airbender-themed debate. So I'm getting the contestants signed up for that. It should be a good one. Then we have the Hellbound Horror Movie Podcast with Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn, where they talk about all things horror and spicy, scary movie things, and mostly just their personal lives. Good guys, wonderful podcast. Check it out. That's it for the lineup of things at the United Federation of Podcasts. We also have this one, the Hold Up Movie Podcast, where we talk about. You guys
have enough podcasts.
We could probably use more, honestly.
I certainly
it's
don't.
Not like we can stop talking about anything. But yeah, we talked about martial arts for this film, for this episode. And in the next episode, we're getting into sports. Sports. With
are we?
Yeah, we're getting into sports. Cool Runnings, and who was our guest? I had it up. It's gonna
Cool Runnings is the best sports movie, just like Bloodsport.
Kevin Millard. We got Kevin Millard watching sports. We're gonna be watching 8 Men Out from 1988, which is a baseball film. Cool Runnings from 1993, and Foxcatcher from 2014, which is a wrestling film. It's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, but like actual wrestling, not professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's more or less about like the scandals of the guy that had a high school wrestling thing. It's gonna be dark. It's gonna be
very dark. Yeah,
it's gonna be a dark film. It's gonna be some sads. But yeah, that's what's happening going on next week. So that's about it. With that, Davan, did you have any final takes?
Just go watch that YouTube thing about Frank Dukes. It'll blow your minds. It'll blow your minds. If you're not familiar with the con artistry of Frank Dukes, it's amazing. And the most amazing thing is after that entire documentary about him scamming people, you will like him at the end of it somehow. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But maybe it's just because he's given us so many great things through his lies. Like, it's a twisted tale. But yeah, check that.
Send that link later, Davan.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll send it to you when we're done here. I might even go watch it again. It's so hilarious.
Chow, did you have any final takes?
I can't unhear those cat noises.
Those bird noises, yeah.
You've actually blown my mind with that.
Yeah.
Me too, just because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah. So. I can't believe
But it's not that noticeable until you hear it, like, because there's so much noise in that building going on. Like, it's kind of hard to
But then you notice it, and
noise.
you can't unnotice it.
Yeah.
It's going to be with you forever now. Forever.
It's almost like figuring out how hot dogs are made.
You never see how the sausage is made, boys. You never see how
the sausage is made. All right, with that, enjoy the movies.